I'm busy man shit, nigga. They tear their head off, nigga.
I read what Eve did to Adam, I just pray my love don't lie to me. Swing the iron like Samson, I can't let no hoe to lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Niggas think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying, this shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Circle up and stay alert, another cop can stretch the nigga. He ain't demon, this an exorcism, watch I bless the nigga. You took that open blood, then you know I'm gonna get active with you. From the opposition, I see vision, let me paint the picture. Rappers claim they spin, I ain't listening, is effective. If revenge was a woman, now I stroke that bitch like Jacob. For Tower War, we gon' run the summer, it's gon' be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. Ask who run this shit, but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers, hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I can't do that, bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it young baby. How you real trigger know them dots? You a bird feeder, claiming he a demon. What's a demon to a cold leader? When he says something, I ain't hear this shit like it ain't about who got the gun, it's about who gon' up that fight first. I turn a bad situation to a game change. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raised up the chain. Bring shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand and feet, so you'll never get that hand back. He bitchin' about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody wanna be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. I'm a certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, I with that hollow sign, yeah, this the rim accord. Feel like Gullah Jake when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my bread, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get that boy lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
Don't let them take you out your spirit, gotta stay focused. Can't go back living how I was, cause it's repulsive. I don't ask for much, that's all I ever wanted. And not killing, die behind it, you can quote me. Yeah, these hoes for the streets, they ain't holy. I ain't pulling up the spiritual when devils kiss your boots. We ain't no cowards, please don't say what you gon' do. Or post something on the internet you think you gotta prove. Cause I got Karak Ice, I got Shia War, got Kasarpakai, I got Imawan, got Kabataban, I got Tazaba, got Kakamaima, got Karanyala, got Yaragabar, Tribe of Issachar, bring out Gabba War. Couple young men in this bitch with an olive oil. If you ain't in these ranks, then you out of order. It's a time for everything right now, it's time for war. And I'm still the same nigga when I'm not recording. I pull up, shoot from half like I'm Michael Jordan. I don't think they fit to join the Lord's army. I survived a Christian church, moral of the story. I done beat so many demons, I got war stories. Garment look so hardcore, look like I morphed on him. Appetite for battle, yeah, I'm war hungry. I ain't choose this life, the Lord chose me. I'm a certified priest and I don't take that lightly. How I feel about this shit, yeah, I can't describe it. I know they mad at me, cause I can't trust the white man. I gird up my loins and did something mighty. Yeah, what's done in private, it's gonna come to light. Speak the truth into these bones and watch them come to life. All my friends are dead, let loose all the plagues, yeah.
Those are messed up, no. Bad news is to beat your home, nigga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, get on his ass real quick one time. 144, bitch.
They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they trade that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, me whole car. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You even low or this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our core. Wait up, let me make a call right quick. I'ma start another war. I was hurting when she left, but I don't care about anymore. I need a Vaseline like my Nina Puffer boy. Took a Zoc, watch the dark. Matter of fact, like a dart. Any problem, let them come. We gon' snatch they soul like Shane Shaw. Put them out of service, keep them tools like Miss Harper Free. Try to hope it's way too late. I'm headed straight to the safe. Throw that one up like a trophy. I'm that nigga, ain't no debate. Throw them boys, we taking notes. Call them up like shut the day. This shit a piece of cake. Yeah, my bitches came from Whole Foods. Told them put on that top 3. Then bring me my house shoes. Don't make excuses, make moves. These niggas ungrateful, gotta show them UPK rules. I make hits like I can't lose. They say you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they trade that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, the whole part. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our core. Yeah, I just got off the call. I'ma start another war. Spit a plate up with my niggas, get your knife and your fork. They ain't locked in with the cow, then when you speaking to me fart. Yeah, I just took the floor. Ain't no cowards in my campaign. They can't stop the campaign. Tell them bring the champagne. They know I'm a champion. They can see the outcome. Beat them niggas bad, got them tied down and outdone. You can't do with them steppers, niggas been down since day one. We run up the bands, bitch like Dylan. They say you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they trade that beat, I read that bitch just like a horse. Yeah, about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, we whole part. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You either low or this low, so that bitch is either or. I told you niggas, you ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our core. And I just made it call. We gon' start another war. Yeah.
Buck roll.
This shit gon' ride.
You'll never see another nigga like this. Used to have that white bitch popping on the night shift. Now I'm going westward, sharper than the ice pick. On you rappers' necks and it's feeling like some vice grips. Yeah, that's light shit. Send my bro a kite quick. Ties of war, we ain't forget about you. Keep your light lit. Rappers can't see. Most of them scared to witness. Go and close your eyes. There's one right here for the trenches. Bad bitches, natural hair or extensions. Hood niggas that'll probably grip like some dentures. Runners on them fences. 23 and 1 out. Praying that that commissary hit before it run out. Bitches on the gram, dog filter with their tongue out. Couldn't stay home because they found the dugout. Closed casket, burner in the low jacket. My coat captain, riding on these whole rappers. My hoes fabulous. Now I don't mean that derogatory, but I'm a player and there's no my women riding for me. I avoided Maury. I got 2 jets. If I can't make it through for them, then I'm useless. Sit down that roof, Chris, with a couple bosses. After the war, just to count our losses. There's not many. You see a smile on my face, but I'm not friendly. Gun on my waist, sipping white Henny. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on the swerve in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in this world in my whole life, It's so melodic. When I be dropping this ebonics, this ghetto phonics, it got me on the level supersonic. My bomb atomic, and you know where you can find me. Somewhere probably folding this paper origami. My name is pure as the Sani. My wave is like a tsunami. I went from 0 to 100, feeling like Ricky Bobby. I made a deal with the Reaper. Got a couple wives, they some keepers. Talk a lot of shit, but you can't walk a mile in my sneakers. Bitches go to Miami, come home and change features. Now she got a BBL, her ass fatter. Trying to show up all them niggas that laughed at her. Now when they see her, they only wanna fuck her. They just wanna touch her. They don't wanna cuff her. They just wanna come and kick it with her like a punter. Turned her to a runner, now it's all aboard the train. Fenty on her face, but it's not concealing the pain. It's a shame. So I'm in the hood like some rap snacks. I know niggas kill you and your mama for a scat pack. Dark tint, matte black, they do it for half that. Had you like 90s Missy in a fucking trash bag. I'm from Philly, we don't do bank accounts, just cash app. I spit a verse and I just watch the time slow. This that guy flow, this that shit that rappers die for. This that uncut Tahoe Wall straight from Pablo Escobar. I be at the bar like Moscato. They think it's effort, but no, this that black work. Make the countermeasures, take pleasures, making an op hurt. Lighters in the sky, cause every verse is a concert. My mind work at speed y'all can't fathom. Listen to the words of a champion. You can't. The streets need another anthem. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know like. Gotta got my heart and my bow tie. Waiting on this war in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know life. Gotta got my heart and my bow tie. Living in this war in my whole life, my whole life.
From Westworld. From Westworld. Let's get it.
Don't be sure, tell them make sure. If not, we gon' make war. Clips say it hold 20, but I think it could take more. Grab a stick, fire on your camp, we gon' make s'mores. I ain't satisfied with my spot, then I'ma take yours. No matter how many roadblocks in my way, I'ma break forward. This path I'm on is so damn narrow, I just stay forward. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, I just ate more. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, give me 8 more. Nigga, I don't sugarcoat shit, bitch, I'm straightforward. Don't give a fuck if they don't let me in, I just break doors. Ballin' so hard, they asking what team that I play for. Scammer who? They ain't stopped making guns when they made yours. Sick with it. Feeling like I woke up with stage 4. They ain't want the piece loose, what they opened up the cage for. Endure the pain, been through hard times is what I'm made for. Pay my dues, never left a wage, I just rage raw. So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world. Got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Still against all enemies. In high school, you was the man that's lost memory shit. Lost energy, never lost my energy. Never lose control, never losing. Dog, I plan to keep you. Lose your mind where I'm from. I ain't talking from what you see. I never lost soul. Losing time, wasting steady pace, and you off track. I'm on that. You pray to God, hoping He can save you. But the power about war, and that's a different angle. This another lost cause, and I'm just adding to the list. They not seeing me for that reason. Got a flash on the grip. Nigga, big priest. They gon' judge me by my increase. And I'ma keep stepping in these joys to the increase. Just got off the phone with Jacob, and he said it's time to shine. Certified, blue dot, put it on you, now you verified. One West world, bigger than World War III. Do not sleep, it's not cheap, and it's still top 3.
So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world. Got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Came on boats and then chains. So when I get rich, I'ma grab a boat and 10 chains with 12 ribs from each tribe. And each rib gonna have at least 3 kids. Yeah, I'ma have the deep squad. Been rapping since knee high. Now a nigga shack size. Spit that holy fire. When you hear it, you get baptized. One West world, yeah, you niggas know the logo. And I'ma bust it down down so the haters see the globe up. Let's have a feast, let's shine on our enemies. Right in their face, let's blind all our enemies. Cause now we have, but we come from half not. Throw that cash on the ground, my nigga, let's cast lots. I started from the bottom, birthed out of mud, raised by gangsters, turned out a thug. I ain't give a fuck. Burnt out I was from hitting licks in and out and selling nicks in the drop.
So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world. Got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
All right, this is Rudy's speech, man. We got Captain Tywar in the building.
Yeah. Who's that?
Yeah, so Cap, man, let us know where you from.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me, man, on Rudy's speech, man. Understand, I'll break it down right quick,
Don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart, one West when I finish, one West when I start. Big shine. Big glow, I be gone till November, let my bitch know. I'm back by the winter, bubbling like Crisco. I need my pockets all swollen like a lymph node. Talking out the side of your neck, get you a slit throat. I stay broke, don't care if I got a million. Looking down on me, I put your brains on the ceiling. Fuck kicking down the door, we bout to demo the building. Fake cats all in these groups, I wonder who ya. Shoot ya off your pulpit, hallelujah. 4-pound gun young and down like it's a cougar. On my feet, combat boots, or is it Puma? Words spreading around about me, none of it rumor. All truth, very big facts. Very large caliber on very small gaps. Compact pistols, ladders, and all that. About to throw the switch in the Nina for rapid fire. Got the 5.7 equipped with the magnifier. Boom shakalaka, equipped with the rim rocker. We ain't really got beat, yeah, Ramak would have been shot you. The best rhymer since Pac and Big Papa. Big llama, big juice, I'm Big Jamba. Quarter tank of gas, I ride like a big timer. No informer, no sweat, not in China. My conglomerate wreck like King Konga. No Asian pun me, no chink in armor. Remain calm through our pain that bring drama. Stay focused on things that bring commas. Took all pressure, applied and made diamonds. Stayed true, kept shit pure, my name honored. Paid all dues and debts and kept promise. Make sure you show respect. Pay homage that I'm one West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood. Don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart. One West when I'm finished, one West when I start. I said I've been one West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood. Don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart. One West when I'm finished, one West when I start. I'm the hottest on the market, don't make me start it. I'ma pull up in a Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I remember days was trapping out the apartment. Now one West about put me up in a starship. About to fly the friendly skies in this bitch. Spit the truth on the corners, I lie a little bit. I'm a stand-up nigga, I die before I switch. Down, no we up, I'm cool with who I with. I'ma be war the king and stay dangerous. Hold down the biz and fam, remain blameless. Now rappers drippy with styles we made famous. First with studs and spikes in any city. Designers charge a stack for shit that can't fit me. Had friends on my coattail way before Jimmy. Funny how the general ain't even see a penny. Better show respect, get smoked like a chimney. Keep my name out your mouth, don't even think it. Send a real Smith at y'all, no Jada Pinkett. Both ball heads, my grain a $1.50. Lost my man to the game, that pain that stuck with me. Had to find a cheat code to the street though, cause them niggas getting fouled, shoot you like a free throw. Keep spitting acid like a Mino, and the nigga be the nicest with a mean flow. Try to ride my wave, you gon' need a speedboat. I'm hot like 100 degrees in a peacoat. Scarf in the sweater, I embark every letter. It's UPK, not a park, but together. Homie, I've been one West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart. One West when I'm finished, one West when I start. One West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart. One West when I'm finished, one West.
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my people. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. This obstacle sat in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. The fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles will make it official. I'm capturing every crack and surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash. Get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit a Lord, fuck the cocktail. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. That was designed fire for our babies to pass through in the day of our king's reign. I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Birds, bust their head.
ODing on a beat, Narcan flow. We outside. We outside with it. That temperature's getting hot, we take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club, we take it outside. I got my killers with me, you won't make it outside. Outside, cause we outside. Before the COVID had the mask and we was outside. The Glock loaded, extra mag and it's outside. There's one west for that bag and we outside. We outside. I got the world in the palm of my hand. One wet sleeve stretch, do it live on the gram. Had a whole world viewing. Click and subscribe. Had them niggas off the block, tell them shooters they want a job. I just put them on the payroll. When I get control them, I just mold them like they Play-Doh. Soldiers giving Halo, trying to get up at them pesos. 40 cows send you out of space, Jeff Bezos. And Jeff Bezos, leave you all boxed up. All cause my delivery, I be on that prime shit. Take you time to get with me. Got me like Vladimir, treat you like the Ukraine. Raid your little city, now you boating like Usain. Scope costs more than the rifle. I got new aim, fresh kick, spit with the blick. Not my shoe game. Used to have a dirty 30 tied to a shoestring. Now I got that Ruger 5 and 7. That's my boot thing. That temperature's getting hot. We take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club. We take it outside. I got my killers with me. You won't make it outside. Outside, cause we outside. Before the COVID had the mess and we was outside. That Glock loaded, extra mag and it's outside. There's one west for that bag and we outside. We outside. That temperature's getting hot, we take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club, we take it outside. I got my killers with me, you won't make it outside. Outside, cause we outside. Before the COVID had the mess and we was outside. That Glock loaded, extra mag and it's outside. There's one west for that bag and we outside. We outside. I don't talk hardly. Be there when you call me. Send them Philly clippers at your head like a baldy. Chopper get to run down your block like a Harley. No, this ain't a big hog. This the big dog.
In your city, swinging through the jungle like it's pitfall. In the water wading, marching to my cadence. Big burst of thunder in my hands like I'm reading. Shitty little combat sounds, but I ain't playing.
Look 'em in the eye before the war like a weigh-in. I'm up in the AM, politicking movements with that Draco from the vid because it's proven. Waiting on my brother out of bed, he ain't do shit. That's how life go. Win some, you lose. Seen a little nigga beat a big nigga out his shoes. Seen that nigga come back, pull up with a gun strap, rob everybody outside, told him run that. We outside. That temperature's getting hot, we take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club, we take it outside. I got my killers with me, you won't make it outside. Outside, yeah, we outside. Before the COVID had the mess and we was outside. My Glock loaded extra mag and it's outside. It's one west for that bag and we outside. Outside, yeah, we outside. That temperature's getting hot, we take it outside. You run your mouth up in this club, we take it outside. I got my killers with me, you won't make it outside. We outside, and we outside. Outside, yeah, we outside. We outside, yeah, we outside. There's one west on them corners and we outside. We outside with it.
Call me Lisa 2Jeezy. I make that shit look easy. How bitches come and they greet me, they teach me. Bitches ain't shit and they never will be. I still see hoes on my nuts, but they can't feel me. But really though, I'm in beast mode.
Let's just get into it, all right? All right, clap it up one more time. I'll take your questions in the room and online. Let's get it on. Anything? I'm ready to go. What are the topics I had to go through tonight, Doc? I believe I sent them in earlier. Do you recall?
North Carolina swastikas.
Okay.
After black woman set up shop next door. We also have some TikTok videos chasing Lee.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was a good one. Go ahead.
We also have the 3 North Carolina police officers fired after audit, undercover racist video.
That was another good one. Go ahead.
We have, depending on the state you live in, you don't have to identify yourself unless you commit a crime.
Okay, I got you. Okay, let's we'll save those towards the end. All right.
Khan.
Any other questions online?
We do not have any questions online as of now, sir. We do have Chicago in the building.
Chicago, give them a hand.
We also have Detroit in the building.
Give Detroit a hand.
We also have ATL in the building.
Give ATL a hand. Atlanta.
And of course, we have HQ in the building.
Give HQ a hand. Harlem, New York. All right.
We just got a question online, sir.
All right.
Officer asked, Salakia, sir, can I get a breakdown on Exodus 6 and 13?
No problem. Also, too, I got calls about that Tekashi 69 getting beat up in a weight room or something like that. We'll go over that this week. Of course, if you have questions about that, you can take that out on the street and break down for brothers as well. All right. Okay. Let me hear the question first, please.
Salakia, sir, can I get a breakdown on Exodus chapter 6, verse 13?
Exodus 6 and 13. Read it.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 6 and verse 13. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and unto Aaron and gave them a charge unto the children of Israel and unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
Did he have a specific question about this, Art?
He says, when he was talking about the uncircumcised lips, and then he said, what's he talking about his speech impediment?
I understand. Go ahead and read it then. Continue. Is that the right verse?
Verse 13, right?
Verse 12. Go ahead.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 6 and verse 12. And Moses spoke before the Lord, saying, behold, the children of Israel have not hearkened unto me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me?
So this is to give you some context in this story. I appreciate it. This is when the Most High told Moses to go out and tell the people, when the Lord told Moses to go tell Pharaoh, let my people go. And then he went back to the people to rally the people around leaving. He wanted them to go serve the Lord for 3 days in the wilderness. So think about it like a 3 days off from your job. That's all they wanted. And so he went out on the street to rally the people, to let them know, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to demand 3 days off from Pharaoh so we can serve the Most High God in the wilderness. And he wanted to get the people behind him, but the people were not listening to him. They wouldn't hear him. And anyone who does the work of the Most High under commanding General Yohana, that's something that you have to go through. It's part of this work because you're telling people something that they don't want to hear. Why? Because what you're saying goes against selfishness. If you want to understand the success of the modern Christian church, their success is based on one thing. They don't ever tell people that they can't do anything. If you want to be a Christian, you can be a Christian and do whatever you want to do. I have another video for you. Let's play on this topic real fast. I'm going to give you a video. I'm going to send it to you. All right. I'm going to send you a video. Bear with me. 1 sec. Here it is. Look at this, man. Okay. How do I send this to you, Ak? How do I do that?
Oh, you got to email it?
Email it? Okay, hold on. Email it. That's a jammer. Okay. Email. Where the hell is that at? How about Messenger? Can I give it to you on there? How do I send it to you? HARYAA HLA Bunyauda. All right. So you'll play it. That's what their success is based on. That's why they have millions of people, because there is nothing that they cannot do. In theologian schools, they teach that every other religion has a to-do list. Christianity says it's already done. There's nothing to do. And that's why they're successful. Well, Moses is going out on the street telling people, we're going to go serve the Lord. We're going to go do this and go out there and do that. And the people don't want to hear him. And Pharaoh, because of his hard heart, doesn't want to let them go. So you can understand the type of obstacle that our prophet at that time was up against. Everyone understands. Keep going. When you have the video, let me know, all right? Go ahead, Art.
Who am of uncircumcised lips.
Who am of what?
Uncircumcised lips.
The term uncircumcised, right, it's a metaphor for not being accepted by God. Meaning, if you were actually literally circumcised, the foreskin of your penis would be cut off in a ceremony to indicate that you are joined to the Most High God. You have dedicated yourself to him. Moses said he had uncircumcised lips because Moses didn't believe that his mouth was chosen by God, because Moses had a speech impediment. Moses stuttered. He had a terrible stutter, and his stutter took away his confidence. He didn't believe that the people would listen to him because he was not eloquent in speech. He wasn't a great orator. He was no Martin Luther King. He was no Barack Obama. No, Moses wasn't like him. Those are great orators. Great on the people this and the people that, and the people, they're great at speaking. Now, they're not so good at sex with men and having sex with homosexuals. And are we on TikTok? Then they're not, well, let me try to still keep myself in order. They're not good at morality. They're not good at keeping laws. They're not good at, fighting their own sexual perversions. They're not good at not molesting children, but they're very good speakers. Everyone understands. You have the video yet for me?
Come on, sir.
Play this for 1 second. Right there. Show them the title too.
Do you have to stop doing drugs to become a Christian?
Now, when they pan the camera around, you'll see the thousands of people in this church. And then what he's talking about will explain why. Play it.
Pastor, I got a question for you. If I become a Christian, do I have to stop smoking pot? The pastor looked back and went, no. Some of you just went, amen. I like this, right? If I become a Christian, do I have to stop smoking marijuana? In case you didn't know what pot was, right? And the pastor's back and goes like, no. The kid reaches in his jacket, pulls out a fatty rolled in a paper towel tube, all right? If I become a Christian, do I have to give this up? And the pastor goes, no. And the kid goes, I don't understand. He goes, you're right, you don't understand.
That's why people love church. That's it. It's not about the doctrine. It's not about love. Don't let that fool you. That's what every lunatic will tell you, that they hate Commanding General Yohana because we're a hate group, and they love the Christian church because they're a love group. There is no love in the Christian church because they have an epidemic of molesting children. Everyone knows about that. They molest everyone's little boys. All of them have had penis in their mouth. If you go to church long enough and you're a little boy, you're going to have a penis in your mouth. If you think I'm joking, you can just Google it. This is not tough talk. This is the fact. This is the facts of being Christian. Everybody knows what those altar boys are doing, what those choirs are doing. If you go to church, you're going to be sexually mishandled in church. It's going to happen. So that no one can say there's love in church. So what is in there? Freedom to sin, freedom to get high, freedom to have sex with prostitutes, freedom to have sex with whores. And if you go to the preacher and ask him, you could pull out a fat blunt in front of him and smoke it right in front of him. And the church says amen. Everybody understands. So Moses went through this. He's out there trying to tell the people something now. When the people want to be Egyptians, they want to be Egyptian. They don't want to do this, especially not from someone who has an uncircumcised tongue. He can't convince them to change. He can't talk them into it because he has a speech impediment. There are also other precepts. This is why Aaron joined Moses. Aaron joined Moses because he spoke for Moses. He spoke for him. Moses told Aaron what to say. Aaron said it to the people. All right. And these are precepts that I can pull for you if you need them. He's speaking about his speech impediment up. Everyone understands. Please, Captain.
Get a breakdown on Deuteronomy 23:18.
Do we have a small funnel in here? We don't have a little tiny funnel, right? Do we? Sometimes they're around the schools in different places, little funnels. If you think you have one, let me know. If not, don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord thy God for any vow. For even both of these are abomination to the Lord thy God. What's the price of a dog?
The price of a dog is selling dog meat, selling unclean meat, being a criminal. Meaning, remember, tithes are taxes in essence. It's a 10%, which is where taxes come from today. And most taxes are 10% because of that, right? What the Most High is saying is he doesn't want illegal tax money. He doesn't want unlawful tithes. He doesn't want the price of a dog, meaning people eating dogs, eating unclean animals. He doesn't want the price of a whore, people selling prostitutes. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want drug money to come into the church. You get my point? He doesn't want prostitution money to come into the church. Why am I saying church? Because that is what funds the Christian church. The money from pimps and the money from drugs. Without drug money, I don't know what the Catholics would even do. I mean, my God, with the Spanish speaking drug dealers, with the Catholic Church, with the Italians, how in the hell would the Catholic Church get money if they didn't take illegal money? They wouldn't have any money from the mafia, any money from drugs, any money from all of the criminal cartels that believe in Roman Catholicism. They accept that money. In Israel, we would not. We would not accept unlawful money. Everybody understands. Come on up. I'm sorry, sis. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I just want to know if when the KKK was still in 1969, did they call them a hate group?
The KKK?
Mm-hmm.
When the KKK was founded, they did not call them a hate group. They called them American heroes. I'll prove it to you if you need me to. You can look up a movie called Birth of a Nation. When the Ku Klux Klan first was popular, it was around the 1920s and the 1930s. And they were considered to be heroes who were champions against black people who were infringing upon powerful white men in the South. Black people were free from slavery at the end of the Civil War. And then they began to get power through this time called Reconstruction. That was when the South was considered to be an enemy territory. And the government from the North went into the South and they forced them to let black people vote. And they forced them to allow black people to have government positions. And black people became governors and senators all over the South, people you never hear about because you're not allowed to learn about them. But they were the governors in Mississippi and Alabama and senators and congressmen all through the South during the time when the North enforced the Constitution in the South. Then the time of Reconstruction was over. And then they pulled the federal troops out of the North and they let the South do whatever they wanted them to do, what wanted to do. And the South started some laws called Jim Crow laws. And they began to beat down black people, tear them out of office, and ban them from having any rights. During the time when black people had those rights, the Ku Klux Klan came about to say, we'll protect our women from these new black police officers that have power, from these new black governors and senators, from these new black rich men. We'll protect our women from them. But they had to wear a mask because they were criminals, because the government was on the side of black people in their mind. So they wore masks at night, but they were considered to be heroes and champions. And if you want to prove it, you look up the movie called Birth of a Nation. And Woodrow Wilson said it was the best movie he ever saw. And it was a movie praising the Ku Klux Klan for help. Give me a little clip of Birth of a Nation, just a taste of Birth of a Nation. And give me Woodrow Wilson's clip, Woodrow Wilson's comments about Birth of a Nation. Someone can read them for the sister as well. All right. So no, the Ku Klux Klan, my God, show me they had a parade at Madison Square Garden. Thousands of people came down to see the Ku Klux Klan. Matter of fact, maybe that's better. Give me both of them. Give me the parade that the Ku Klux Klan had in Madison Square Garden. They marched down the street in Manhattan and had a giant rally in the garden right down here. Come on. It was that was the Nazis. I'm sorry. That's another one. The American Nazi Party was super powerful and popular before World War II. Everyone loved them, and the Nazis are the ones that had the parade and had a rally in Madison Square Garden. You can show it to the sister. Let me keep moving with the questions. Any other questions? Come on up.
Says she had this question for our weekend. She wants to know, Sean, y'all smart about me. Lucky, sir. I am a new sister coming to the school, and I am married to an officer who had 2 other wives previously. My question is, can you break down how a man can love me, being the 3rd wife? Just a general question.
Did she say she had this question for a week now? What is that?
Trying to get an answer. She said, yeah. Sister Lachey.
I got you. She'll wait. Let her wait another week.
Come on, sir.
Anything else? Next question.
We got it
right here, please. See me one more time with the chaser, please. The water warrior. Microphone for the brother.
Salakia, sir, if I may, I would like a breakdown, if you can, sir, for
Please.
Colossians 2:16.
Okay.
Which says, "Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days."
Mm-hmm. Read 2 verses above it, then I'll explain.
Number 1, Colossians.
Is your question just a breakdown or something in specific?
Just a breakdown on it, sir,
Solid.
Baba Kashaw.
Go ahead.
Colossians chapter 2 and verse 14.
Okay, go ahead.
Blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross. Verse 15.
You understand what that means?
Break
it down.
Break down that verse?
Yes.
So yeah,
I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
No problem. It's all right.
I don't.
It's just
understand
it's the basis of what your question is for the next verse. That's all.
Con,
Read it one more verse above it.
Colossians chapter 2 and verse 13. And you, being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh, hath he quickened together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses.
That's what you need right there. That's how you understand your question. You being dead in your sins, it was a time when you were dead in your sins, meaning you were physically alive, but really you were dead. If you're a drug addict, you're dead. If you're some lustful pig and you can't stop your desire to have sex so much that it causes you to have sex with your brother's woman, that it causes you into other perversions, then really you're a dead man because you don't control yourself. Imagine living your entire life and something else controls you. Some other entity is in charge of you. You're not free. You can't do what you want to do. You can't see what you want to see because you are controlled by a drug addiction. So you do what your addiction tells you to do. Your friends are the people who get high. Everywhere you go to the places where you can smoke. If you can't smoke, you don't go any place. That brings me to the other announcement I had to make this week. There's going to be, like it is every year, there will be a lot of people who are coming to their first Passover this year. Give them a hand. This is your first Passover? I remember my first Passover years ago, right here in Harlem, right here in Manhattan, years ago. Well, there are going to be some of you that are going to have a very rough time attending the Passover. Why? Because you are going to need to smoke. You're going to be at the Passover around all of these righteous people, and you are going to feel such a urge to smoke, and you're not going to be able to smoke. And it is going to aggravate you. You're going to feel angry. You're going to want to argue into so many arguments you'll hear at the Passover. Disagreements are because someone is new and they're here at this hotel and there is nowhere for them to smoke. Some of them try to go sneak and hide somewhere and smoke outside around the bar, around the Passover. Before you know it, here comes a guard. You can't do that here, sis. You can't do that here. And now they don't know where to smoke. So most of them, they go sneak off in their car somewhere. They get in their car and they hide and they just puff that cigarette. Because really, you can't go anywhere where you can't smoke. You can't travel on a plane. You ever see people that get on a plane and go nuts on the plane, lose their mind? They need a cigarette, Doc. They've been 4 hours with no cigarette. You need a cigarette every 5 minutes. What's a cigarette break? You're on your slavery? I think it's 10 minutes. Remind me. I don't remember, but I believe it's every 10 minutes. You have to get up. What are you going to do? Fly somewhere? You don't travel because you smoke. You can't go see the world. You can't. How are you going to be a bad bitch and you can't even get on a plane? You can't. You can't do that because you cannot go to Miami because you need to smoke. So there's no way for you can't even get on the plane. Well, there'll be some people that will come to this Passover and you're going to need to smoke. This is what you're going to have to do. You fight it as long as you have to, and don't let us see you do it. Everybody understands. That's about as fair as I can make it. Don't let us see you do it. Don't do it where people can see you and feel pity and shame on you. Because the minute that happens, now the Passover is about you. Because we had to look at you, debase yourself at such a holy place. So if you must smoke, if you have addictions, don't let anyone see you do it. Don't let anyone find out. Something else controls you. You don't control yourself. That's how all of us were at one time. Dead. But then we were made to live. Then we became alive. Now read it one more time.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 13. And you, being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh, hath he quickened together with him.
The word quicken means to make alive. So now you were dead, but now he has made you live. Keep going.
Having forgiven you all trespasses.
Having done what?
Having forgiven you all trespasses.
He forgave you all of your crimes. He forgave you for all of the crimes you committed. All of the drugs that you've partaken, all of the illicit and unlawful sex you've had, all of the murders, all of the thefts, you're forgiven. You've been given a reprieve. Everyone understands. Keep going.
Verse 14. Blotting out the handwritings of ordinances that was against us.
What was the handwriting or ordinance that was against you? Whosoever has not celebrated the Passover in its season, that soul shall be cut off from his people. That's in the Bible. So if this is your first Passover, you already should be dead because you missed all of those Passovers in the past, which would mean you couldn't come to this one because you haven't been to all of them since you were born. What I'm telling you is in the Bible. Do you understand? If you've ever celebrated Christmas, that soul shall be cut off from his people. If you've ever worshiped another God, that soul shall be cut off from his people. You're ostracized. No one is allowed to be around you. That ordinance is against you because if we do it, if we perform the law of Moses, you can never come back into this nation because you've already done things to be kicked out. Everyone understands.
Another one.
Keep going.
Which was contrary to us,
Mm-hmm.
and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross.
It was contrary to us, meaning if the law of Moses is enacted, I have to die because of the things I've done. But it was removed from us. So I'm not going to be faulted, and no one is going to perform the law of Moses on me. Why? Because my sins were nailed to his cross. So everything that I've done is dead. Before I was dead. Now my crimes are dead. I don't ever do them again, and Christ paid for the crimes that I committed already. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 15. And having spoiled principalities.
Here, you mind cooling it off in some way? Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Verse 15. And having spoiled principalities.
Just a taste.
And
having done what?
And having spoiled principalities.
What's a principality? A power, a government. Having spoiled principalities, meaning taken down governments and powers, authorities. Go ahead.
And powers.
Mm-hmm.
He made a show of them openly.
Meaning he destroyed them openly. He made a show of them openly. How did he do that? because there was power that the government had at that time to kill people that ate pork, to kill people that committed sins, to kill people that did the things that you and I have done. But he spoiled that government. He took away their power to kill us. You understand? He made an open show of them. They don't have the power anymore to kill sinners. Why? Because they are sinners. If you need an example, it's the woman who was caught in the very act of adultery. And Christ said, let he that is without sin cast the first stone. So if these men of the law kept the law, then they all could have killed her. Or at least one person could have at least thrown one stone, and then the rest could have followed. There was not one of them who were not equally as guilty as her, which meant that was an open show of their lack of authority. They didn't have the right anymore to stone adulteresses because they were adulterers. Everyone understands. And that's if you want to know the problem in America with the rise in crime, the rise in crime is because of two things. One, the COVID-19 epidemic that made so many people poor. And then there is no more respect for police officers. Why? Because everyone sees that police officers are crooks and criminals because of video. Video destroyed the idea of cops. Before that, it was like an idea of a cop, like he was, from the movies. But someone turned on the video camera, and it started with Rodney King, and then it just kept going. So once again, if police officers actually want to stop crime, they would have to first stop committing crime themselves. They would have to start there. Because if you're a crook and you're a criminal, and if you assault people and murder people, then no one gives a damn about you and you telling anyone to stop committing crime. That happened in Israel. In Israel, people would come to stone you for committing adultery. And then Christ said, no problem. If you haven't done it, start to kill her. And it embarrasses everyone there, and they all drop their stones and leave. That's what happened. And Christ is saying now that authority is over. That's done. That they're not going to kill you. They're not going to kill you anymore. I'm not giving them the authority to kill you anymore. You have the authority to change. You have the authority to be a better man, to be a better woman. Keep going.
Another one, triumphing over them in it.
Triumph over what? What's the them that they triumphed over?
The principalities.
Principalities and authorities. You see what happened? These people who were going around saying, yeah, I'm killing all these people because they're sinners, because they committed crimes. Wait a minute. They're committing the same crime. So now I'm not going to get killed, and I'm not going to commit crime anymore. I'm not going to steal. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sell drugs. Now you triumph over the authorities that want to imprison you. They want to jail you. They want to kill you. Everyone understands. Keep going.
Verse 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days.
Keep going.
Verse 17. Which are the shadow of things to come, but the body is of Yahweh.
So how would someone judge you in those things? Now just think about everything I just broke down. They would come to you and say what? Okay, if you could just think, don't think of the Bible. Think actual judges and crimes and law. How would someone judge you for murder? What would they come to you and say? You committed a murder, right? But then what if you told them, but I stopped doing that. I don't do that anymore. That was a long time ago. I'm a new man. What would the judge say then?
Once a murderer, always a murderer.
He's not hearing that. Do you understand? He doesn't care about you changing. What Christ is saying is, don't let them judge you for what you've done in the past. Don't do that. That's in the past. You come around like a free man that has never committed any crime. Meaning, in essence, he's saying, don't be guilty for what you've done in the past. That's the point of all of this. And he's laying down each one of those things that if you weren't always in the truth, if you weren't always an observant Israelite, you would have broken each one of these things. And these things are separate. You would not have acknowledged the new moon. Why? Because you don't celebrate the Passover and you don't celebrate the high holy days. And you can't even know when the high holy days are unless you know when the new moon is. You get my point? So someone who is in the world, they don't know anything about the new moon because they don't care about celebrating the high holy days that are based on when the new moon is. You need me for something? No. Oh, let me see that. Let me see. Let me see. I was trying to refill my canteen, but I don't think. See if that can go in there. So what? You can make it work. All right, do your thing. Yeah, clap it up. Good job. Y'all got everything around here. I asked for something, an abstract thing, a funnel. He comes up with a funnel. Get a brother a hand. Good job, trooper. All right. Now that wait a minute. That's full of brake fluid. Don't kill me now. Don't poison me. That's a bad day. I gotta go to the Passover in a couple of days. All right. Keep going.
Verse 18. Let no man beguile you of your reward in a voluntary humility and worshiping of angels.
Here's another thing. What else do people do? They'll try to get you out of the truth and get you to worship some nutty religion like Paul was coming up against at that time. In essence, Paul is laying out the things that derail a new brother in the truth. Here's one of the first things that derails you. Guilt about what you've done in the past. Guilt. You've done things in the past that I remember feeling it. I mean, it just when you find out what you've done and you find out who you've done it against, it can destroy you. And people can come to you and say, what are you? I'll tell you a quick story. I remember this had to be 1996, right? So now, of course, I knew a few sisters before I came into the truth, Shalom. And so I would watch the brothers out on the street corner, right? And they would come down from Harlem and come down from New York up and come to my city in Philadelphia. And I would wait every Friday to come see them come down from New York. And so one day, as I'm standing out there watching them, some sister who I used to deal with about a year before this, she saw me listening to the brothers. And she came over to me and she walked over to me. She said, "What are you doing out here?" And I said, "I'm checking out the brothers, listening to the brothers." And she said, "You?" Just like that. She said, "You?" I said, "Yeah, what the F you talking? What the F are you talking about me?" She said, "You would listen, you?" And this is some sister that thought she was woke. You get my point? She thought she was super, spiritual and crystally, and she thought she was black radical, and she thought I was just, a piece of garbage. You get my point? That would never care about anything spiritual. And then I remember that same night she called me on the phone and I said, "Listen, why did you say, why were you shocked that I was listening?" She said, "Because, that's all heavy and, deep. And it don't seem like you would be into anything like that." Brother, I got so goddamn angry. It was ridiculous. I was extremely angry with that woman. And I expressed it to her. Because once again, that is who I was, but that is not who I am.
That's right.
You get my point? That's just because I was like that before. It doesn't mean I'm like that now. I am changed. Christ has quickened me, and the things that I've done are nailed to the cross with him.
That's right.
She was trying to belittle me because she knew the kind of things that I would do and did. You get my point? That happens when you're young in the truth. A lot of you will tell your parents and your friends, and they'll look at you like, "Are you setting them up to rob them? What are you doing going in there? Is this a scheme, or how are you going to make money with this? Is you planning on robbing somebody?" They won't even understand that you're sincere because they don't see you as that person, because that's not who you were. So Paul is trying to tell you, prepare you for that. Don't let them talk about how you didn't celebrate the Sabbath. Don't let them talk about how you didn't acknowledge the new moon and know when the new moon is. Don't let them talk about how you didn't do this and you didn't do that, because the things that you have done are nailed to the cross with him. You understand?
Another one.
Is that it or no?
There's a little bit left on that verse,
please.
sir. Intruding into those things which he hath not seen, vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind.
This is another pitfall when you're young into the truth, falling into fake Israelite groups with false doctrines. This is a group that was worshiping angels. There was another group called the Nicolaitans that Paul warned about, or Christ warned about in the book of Revelations, who were following after some cat named Nicholas. And they believed in all kinds of stupid garbage. This group believes in angels. Of course, there's a giant group that believes in angels right now. They're called the Catholic Church. When I say believe in angels, meaning they pray to angels. Read that precept one more time about angels.
Con out of one con. Let no man beguile you of your reward in a voluntary humility.
A voluntary humility. What would voluntary humility look like if you saw it? Praying. You would get down on your knees and you would pray to who? Saint Patrick, Saint Stephen, Saint Urban, Saint Benedict, Saint Francis. Or you wear a little Saint Francis pin around your neck and you kiss it.
Medallion.
A little medallion around your neck. If you lose something, pray to Saint Stephen, because Saint Stephen will help you find things. If someone is sick, who do you pray to? Saint Jude. Saint Jude is the patron saint of sick children. That's a voluntary humility unto angels. They pray to angels. Now, this was a stupid group at one time. Now it's the Catholic Church. And they have an angel for every day of the week. All of you stupid idiots was wearing green a minute ago. All of you was walking around the street wearing green for Saint Patrick. That's a voluntary humility unto Saint Patrick, who was not Irish at all, who was Roman. He spoke Latin and was a Roman, but everybody had to give Saint Patrick their voluntary humility. The reason I say angels is because the worship of angels is where the worship of saints came from, so-called saints, right? Where you pick a saint for this, a saint for that, a saint for this. That's the original form of that was worshiping Michael, worshiping Ariala, worshiping the different angels that did this and did that. When we don't do that in the truth, we don't pray to angels. That belief turned into praying to saints or praying to, Catholic saints. All right. Anything else? Is that it or something else?
La, sir.
Please. Next. I'll get you in 1 second, sis. Go ahead.
If I may, sir, can I get a breakdown of Matthew 23, verse 8 and 9? It's specific to us in the UPK as the rank system that we have, and we call the man above us Adawan, right? Matthew 23, verse 8. But be ye not called rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. Verse 9. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your father which is in heaven. Sir,
what does it mean when it says call no man your father?
One more verse, sir. Salaki, if I may. Verse 10. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ.
Solid. What does it mean to be called father?
Be called father will be to
right there it said call no man master, call no man rabbi, and call no man father. Right? Master is like master, like kun out of one kun. That's master. Right? Out of one is master or senior or sir. It all means the same thing, right? Rabbi is teacher. Call no man teacher, right? Father is father, which is, what a father is, right?
Come on, God.
So what does it mean when it says call no man father? Right here, up front, officer. Go ahead.
Would it be similar as like calling somebody your head, like someone?
Well, it said father, and it used other forms of head, master and rabbi.
Would it be like how they do in the Catholic Church, like Father, pray for me, something like that, the type of thing?
Okay, well, does it mean you can't call anyone father?
Nah, it doesn't mean that, because you have a physical father.
Well, if it means that, then you couldn't call your father, because it just said no man. You see that, Levi? Which would mean you'd have to call your father Jimmy, or old Ricky, or call him what your mother calls him, a no good mother person. So the reason I always start with father is because that's the obvious one, right? You know already when you look at that, even though it says call no man father, it's not actually saying that. You get the point? So when you're breaking this down, start with that one, because the person you're battling will say, well, it doesn't mean that. And then you'll say what when they say it doesn't mean that?
The same way it doesn't mean master.
Yeah, because it does say call no man father. That's what it says. So, but they'll accept the fact that it allows for you to call someone your father if he's your father. They'll accept that because that's not what they're trying to come against. Do you understand?
Okay.
Start there. When it says call no man master, call no man rabbi because you have one, what it means is this: your rabbi, your father, and your master are not who is actually in charge. Do you understand? Christ is actually in charge, not them. No man follows me because of me. No man follows you because of you. No man follows Commanding General Yohana because of Commanding General Yohana. The brothers that come in here and follow the men above them, they're here to serve Christ. And Christ wants that on everyone's mind, that your father is not the general above you or the captain or the officer above you. We're all in here serving Christ, every last one of us, of every rank. And he wants that at the forefront of your mind. And he wants that on the mind of the people in charge. That's why Christ said, from here on, call ye not, what's his precept? Benefactors. You shall no more be called benefactors. Give me that precept and I'll explain this way. Give me benefactor. What this precept is saying, Doc, is that your rabbi, your father, also to prove it, I'll give you one precept where Paul called himself the father over the school. Give me, you have many teachers, but one father before I birth you all in the Holy Spirit. That's in the New Testament. And that's Paul directly calling himself the father in the school. When you have it, you read it.
I have benefactor, sir.
Okay.
That's Luke 22, verse 25. And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship.
Not yet. First, to cut whoever is against our rank structure. Give me where Paul called himself the father, and then just look up the word master in the New Testament or Timothy, and just tell me how many times it's in there. Right? It's in there a lot, the term master, because they use the term master all the time. All right, whenever you get it, read it.
Can you paraphrase it one more time, sir?
Servants, obey your masters. I'll take that from you. That's all over the Bible. Now remember, it said call no man master, right? We just read that. Go ahead.
Hebrews 12 and verse 9.
Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live?
That's a good one. That's not the one I'm referring to. That's speaking about being the Father, the Most High being the Father, because he is the ultimate Father and the only Father that all ranks are following. All of them. Give me the one where Paul said, ye have many teachers, but not many fathers. Or you can give me masters, obey your servants, obey your master. Go ahead.
I have that one. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh.
Now we would have a problem with somebody battling you about this, right? Then I would put him in a tiny, tiny box. And I would say, well, what does that mean then? And he would stand there and be dumb, and I would pause and wait. There would be such an uncomfortable silence as we wait to make him explain that precept. Read it one more time.
Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters.
Not only is it saying that there are masters, but it's telling you to obey them. And here's the part that people don't like outside of the UPK. If we are masters, you are servants. That's the part that people don't like. They don't like that part. You understand, right?
Okay.
That's what he's really coming against. He's not coming against you being an officer or you being over him. He's coming against him being a servant. And that is what he is. And it's in the Bible. And it's right here. And you can break it down in Latin and in Greek and in Hebrew. And it's the same thing. Right? Master, servants, obey your masters. That's in the New Testament. That's a law, and if it's in the New Testament, it's a law of Levi? Christ.
Come on, sir.
It's not the law of Moses. It's not the Old Testament that's gone and done away with, right? Which is not true. It's the New Testament from Christ. Christ said, obey me. That's what he said. Why? Because of my height or how short I am or how big I am or how loud I talk? No. Obey me because I obey Christ. Do you understand?
Come.
Everyone is actually following him. No one is following the person above them. You're not really following him. You're following who he follows, who he follows, who he follows. Do you understand? Christ said the same thing about himself. If you obey me, who do you obey? The Father, for the Father is in me and I in him. So if you're following Christ, you're not following Christ. There is no one of the 12 disciples that was following Christ because he was this cat from Nazareth. They were following him because he followed the Most High. Do you understand? And if they don't believe it, they'd have to just explain that precept. Read it one more time.
Be obedient to them that are your masters.
Fake Israelite groups have to obey us, and that's just that. And if they don't obey us, they're going to pay for it, right? The Most High is going to make them pay, right? They're going to be beaten. They're going to pay for disobedience, for rebellion. Servants, obey your masters. Read it again. Keep reading.
Come on. According to the flesh.
Hold up. Wait a minute. According to the flesh. So you not a spirit. This is a spiritual master.
Sir.
This is like God or Jesus or the
according to the flesh.
No. This must be a ghost.
According to the flesh.
Vibe. This must be a spirit. Say what again?
According to the flesh.
This is a man, brother. This is a man. This is not a ghost in your mind. See, if I let you obey that ghost in your mind, oh my God, you'd be so happy with that. Because then you could smoke everything and put your penis in every hole. But if you have to obey a master that is right in front of you, who's looking at you, who can see what you're doing, then him you can't fool like you can fool the imaginary voice in your head. And that's what the world doesn't understand. And if I could make everyone understand one thing, I'd make you understand this. God does not know you. He doesn't know you. And when you think you're talking to God, you are talking to yourself. If I can make you understand one thing, it's that thing. When you say, I'm going to go pray about this, you're talking to yourself. And I need to decide if I should leave my husband. I'm going to go pray about this. You know what? After much prayer, I realized that I should leave my husband. Yeah, I knew that before you prayed. I knew that's what you would come back and say. You know, I've really been praying about this a lot. And I realized that I should not do this anymore. Yeah, I know. I know that. Right? Your decisions are transparent. For some reason, God always wants you to do the thing that you want to do. That's a big coincidence in you, isn't it? God is always on the side of your stomach and your penis and your pocket. Always. God never tells you to do anything against your own self-interest. You never wondered why that is? You're talking to yourself. When you pray, you're talking to yourself. When you get an answer back in your prayer, that's you answering yourself. That's all it is. The only way to know for sure if what you are thinking God is telling you is actually true is to have a man of God over you. That is the only way you could know. If you are coming up with it on your own, then you are lying to yourself. It's like going to court. Who would want to go to court and be their own attorney? A fool. Do you understand? Show me an idiot. Now give me a person that says, yeah, I got a murder charge. I'm defending myself. You're going to jail forever, brother. Forever. Anybody with half a brain would know I need an expert in the legal system to go into court with me. I can't imagine what I should say and then say it in court. I can't say, Your Honor, I have the right to defend myself according to Statute B, 17A, the legal system. I will be defending myself. And then this is the funniest thing. When the witness gets on the stand and says, you'll say, witness, who did you see commit that crime? You. Witness, who was the person that had the gun? You had the gun. Witness, what did the person look like that had the gun? He looked like you. And you look like a damn idiot in there defending yourself. You need a lawyer, brother. You need a representative, Ak. You need someone to make intercession for you. Someone to be able to filter out your desires, what you think. Someone to bounce things off. Someone to make sure that you're not just talking to yourself. Officer.
Trooper, sir.
Salaki, trooper, you look so dignified. He
The
looks
water,
like
sir.
he looks like an officer.
The water,
Salaki,
sir.
give him a hand. He looked like he know what the hell he's talking about, huh? My apologies, trooper. Go ahead.
What you said was so heavy, sir, because there was actually someone who represented himself for his own murder trial, and let's just say he's going away for a very long time.
That's an idiot, huh?
Count
And
out
that
of
type
one
of
count.
person, that's the same arrogance. Like that person thinks I can defend myself better than a lawyer. Sure, I've been to the 8th grade, but I can defend myself better. That's why you think you don't need officers over you. That's why you think you don't need a rank structure. You think you can do it better. Sure, you think that you're better than the UPK that has been doing this since 1969.
That's right.
Rockefeller, Hawaii, Shai. Have fought every battle you can only imagine, been through everything that you think about going through. You don't think we know better? We'll see. We'll find out. Trooper?
Khan, sir. Salakia. I kind of have something. I don't know if it coincides with what you're saying here, but I have 1 Corinthians 12 and 7 all the way down to 10. It says, but the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For one, given by the Spirit of the word of wisdom, to another, the Spirit of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another, faith by the same Spirit, to another, the gifts of healing by the same Spirit, to another, the working of miracles.
You want to know if this is the same thing for time's sake? Absolutely.
Con.
This is Paul saying, we all come together and provide all of our gifts. We bring all of our gifts to each other. And because we're together, we win battles. Not because God has us on some special mission in our mind. Not that. That is you talking to you, Ak. And it's nothing else. You get my point. What thing in life could be done without a man of authority teaching you to do it? You would know how to tie your goddamn shoes without a man showing you how. God didn't show you to tie your shoes, did he? God didn't tell you how to zip in your zipper or to wipe your butt. But you think God will give you the mysteries of the universe? But you needed a man to tell you to wipe your ass, right? And a man to show you how to zip in your zipper. And a man to show you how to buckle your belt and to put your pants on and to put your left foot in your left shoe. But when it comes to the greatest mystery of the heavens, that you do on your own. Do it then. Do it then. All right. Anything else? Give me the one about Paul when Paul said he was their father. I just showed you. Master is not just there. It's all over the goddamn place. Master. All right. All over the New Testament. Master.
Salakia said it said 717 times.
Yeah, I want to move on from this topic because this is an idiot's topic. Everybody understand? This is a lunatic's topic that wants to defend himself in court. Go ahead and do it, Ark. I'm not stopping you. It's a free country. Do whatever you want to do. You don't need nobody over you, brother. Handle it yourself, Ark. You got it. Me, myself, I serve at the pleasure of Commanding General Yohana, and that's what I will be doing forever for my own safety. For my own safety. Anything you want to read this last one?
Real quick, sir, with the term Adonai, I wanted to know what's the position of using that term, sir. When
Adonai, I believe is Adonai, right?
It's when I looked at it in the Hebrew, sir, it's actually Yahweh. But this is what I find out about it. It says, since pronouncing Yahweh is considered sinful, Jews use Adonai instead in prayers and colloquially will use Hashem, the name, when the Masoret added vowel pointing to the text of the Hebrew Bible in the 1st century CE. They gave the word Yahweh the vowels of Adonai to remind the reader to say Adonai instead.
Yeah, that sounds like a ton of nonsense that, theologians wrote into the Bible. Adonai is Adawan, like master. So, of course, in master, the Most High is your master, and you have masters on earth, which is why I just said obey your masters in the flesh, because there is a master that's in heaven, that's the Most High God. And then there's a master that's your father, who you have to obey, and the officers above you, who you have to obey. There are many kinds of masters. Adawan, I believe, is where they got, it's the bastardized way to say Adawan. Adonai, by adding vowels into it. That rest of that nonsense is just nonsense.
Cut out of one concept.
All right, give me the last one I talked about with I spoke about with Paul. You have many teachers, but not many fathers. Give the sister the mic while you're looking for it. Go ahead.
I'll be wondering when the fake Jewish people.
One more time, sister.
I've been wondering, like, the fake Jewish people, what God do they pray to? Not our God, right?
No, not our God at all. They don't pray to our God. They have a make-believe God that's special for them. And that God helps them make money. Correct. That's not our God. Correct, sister. Go ahead.
First Corinthians 4 and verse 15. For though you have 10,000 instructors in Christ.
For though you have 10,000 instructors in Christ. This is Paul speaking. And of course, you can imagine how many brothers were instructors, otherwise known as teachers, otherwise known as rabbis, otherwise known as Adawanyim. That's correct. You had a lot of them. Keep going.
Yet have ye not many fathers.
Yet you don't have many fathers. Keep reading. Listen carefully. Right here. This is what you need. Go ahead.
For in Christ Jesus I have begotten you through the gospel.
For in Christ Jesus I have begotten you. Who have begotten them? Trooper. Paul. How do you know he's not talking about Jesus?
He said I.
Because he's a little more than that. He said, I, in Christ Jesus, have begotten you. He's letting you know Christ Jesus is who I have done it for. Do you understand? So why is he, if you don't mind, so why is he calling himself your father? Because he has begotten you through Christ for Christ. Do you understand? Why? Because we only have one father. Do you understand? Paul is showing you what it means right here. He's telling the brothers in the school he's their father because he birthed them. He begot them in Christ. He brought them into this world for Christ. So really, who's their father? Christ. He's their father because he birthed them for Christ. You're their captain because you're leading them for Christ. You're their officer because you're leading them for Christ, because you have one father. What? So call no man rabbi, call no man father, and call no man master, for you have one, which is Christ. All of us are working for him. Every order you receive is for him. If you receive an order to go clean the camp van up, clean it out, get the print the flyers. Those flyers aren't for him. They don't help that brother. That's not helping him. That's helping the camp go out. The camp going out is for Christ. The orders you receive are for the school, are for Christ. Everyone understands. Everyone has to know that, who's at the top and at the bottom. We're all serving him. Everything you're told to do is for him. If you're told to do something that's not for him, it's not an order. You don't have to do it. It's not an order. But there are things that you must obey. That brother above you knows that when he gives an order, it has to be for Christ, for the school, not for himself. Everyone understands. The water warrior. All right, next. If you need another one, there's also another one where Paul. It's so many of them, Mike. I ain't got all day. They use the term master in the New Testament. All right, is that enough for you? All right, I gotta go. Come on, Levi.
If I may, I don't want right before we leave this subject, sir. Was Christ in that chapter, sir? Earlier on, he was talking about specifically the scribe and Pharisees.
Right.
Was he also saying don't call the scribe and Pharisees master, being that they were hypocrites? Or
You gotta show me what you're speaking about.
In verse 3, he said, verse 2, he said, the scribe and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Verse 3, or therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, right? And
You understand what that means?
Come on, sir.
It's telling you to obey the scribes and Pharisees.
Right.
Go ahead.
Because they saying what Moses said.
Exactly.
Right. And in verse 5 it says, but all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments. In verse 7 it says, and greetings in the markets and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi.
Right.
So
that means that the scribes and Pharisees, the things that they do for glory. They do for fame. So you're whatsoever they bid you do, but do not as they do. So Christ is saying, do what they tell you to do, but don't do what they do. So think about it like a hypocritical parent. A parent will tell you, don't smoke, don't get high. And that same parent smokes and gets high. Do you understand? Come on. I'm perfect, Doc. I appreciate it. I counseled one sister I remember recently, and she's a drug addict. And she said, and I said, well, your children are going to get high too. She said, no, they're not. I said, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, they're going to get high. Your children are going to be like you, right? They're going to have your accent. They're going to talk like you. They're going to walk like you. They're going to eat what you eat. They're going to have your mannerisms and your habits. If you're a drug addict, your kids are going to be drug addicts. But I'm sure in her mind, what does she think? She gets high, but she's going to tell them, listen, don't you do this. What do they tell you? I remember this. They would say, this for adults. Who remembers that? They would be like, no, see, this, don't you do this shit here. This is for, you can't, this shit, don't stay off of this. This thing I'm doing all the time, every day, make sure you don't ever do it. Don't look at this. Don't do this thing. This is wrong to do. Oh, man. Just stop. Don't do none of this. Don't feel good like this. Don't you ever feel good the way I feel good right now. Don't do it. Now you out of your mind. The Sadducees and Pharisees were like that. They would tell you the right thing. So imagine being a child having to look at your mother and your father who's a drug addict and go, well, my parents are telling me not to get high. Listen to them. Don't get high. But don't do what they do, because if you do what they do, you're going to get high. That's the Sadducee and Pharisee, right? Do as they tell you, but don't do as they do. That's what Christ is saying.
Come on, throw out a
next. Let me get one more online, sister. Go ahead.
Sister has a question online. Why do we call our husbands Lord? What scripture is that, sir?
Precept. Sarah. You're going straight to that. You call your husband Lord because he's your master. It's a term of honor. It's to honor your husband. He's your Lord. Before him, it was your father. Your father was your Lord, your master. In America, people are, in America, calling someone Lord is such a big deal. I love it. It's like the greatest thing. Commander General Yohana won't let me call him my Lord. I just do that all the time. He don't like it. But if he let me, I'd be like a medieval knight. I go, come, my Lord. Yes, my Lord. I will be here at 9, my Lord. I'd go there with it because that's how I am. But he does not like that. In America, it's a big deal. It's nothing. In England, it's normal. In England, they have the House of Lords. Lord this, Lord Thomas, Lord that. The only Lord that you don't mind calling Lord is your landlord. Him you don't mind. Him, that you're fine with that, aren't you? You don't complain about that. Yes, my landlord. Yeah, I have the money for you Tuesday, my landlord. It's nothing. It means boss, master. Your landlord he owns the land, right? It's his house. Right, so you should call your husband Lord. Now, if you don't want to call your husband Lord, but you do call your landlord, maybe you're just a proud bitch. Not you, not this sister, because, of course, I don't know her. But there are some women that will not give their husband the honor. They will give their supervisor. They will give their boss. They will give the store manager of the store they go to. But they won't give their husband any dignity at all. Why? Because of your mother. Your mother hates men, taught you to denigrate men, and you cannot look at a man with reverence because of your problems with your father, your mother's problems, all of your past traumas that have molded you into a scar-riddled piece of flesh. You're like a callus. You're a hard, crusty callus. And so you can't give a man any tenderness or honor or reverence because you're a crusty, dry callus. All right. That's the breakdown. Put that in your precept book under crusty callus. So, like, give me the one about Sarah.
It's 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 6.
Here's your precept, sister. 1 Peter 3 and 6. Go ahead.
Even as Sarah.
Now, if I could, before we go there, give me what Sarah did when she wanted to have a child. And she didn't even have to do this because she could have had a child on her own. But she was just so sweet, that Sarah. She wasn't like you. I'm speaking about in general. Sarah was, sweet. Shara. That's her name. Princess. Delicious. Sarah. She didn't have to do this, but she knew she wanted to give her husband a child. First, give me what she did first. Trooper in the back. What'd you want to say? Oh, please. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Genesis 18 and 12. Mm-hmm. Therefore, Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also?
An angel told her she was going to have a child, but she was 90. This was a miracle. And she didn't believe it. So after that, skip me down to what she did. Hagar.
Verse Salakia.
Do I have questions from the other camps up? If so, let me know, all right? Let me get those as a priority every week, all right?
Come on. Any questions from another school? You can put them in the private chat.
Let them raise their hand too. Can we just hear them speak? Let them, if they can. If you're in another camp online, just raise your hand and the brother will acknowledge you and you can speak in the class. All right.
Verse 2.
You ready?
Genesis 16 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarai said unto Abram, behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing.
Sarah said, listen, the Most High restrained me from bearing, because she was 90 and she wasn't having children anymore. The Most High restrained me from bearing, meaning bearing children. Keep going.
I pray thee, go in unto my maid.
I pray thee. You understand that? Please have sex with my maid. Please do it. Please put your penis in my maid. Do it. Well, if you insist, baby. Shit, get in there and do my duty. If that's what you want, you sure? All right then, damn it, I ain't gonna deny you. He went there and did it. She said, please go in unto my maid. Keep going.
It may be that I may obtain children by her.
It may be that I will obtain children by her. She works for me. She's a servant and a slave in my house. She'll have a baby. The baby will be mine. That might be how I have a child. And Abraham went and did as she asked. And they had a child that was named Ishmael. But of course, the maid, when she had that baby, she began to think that she was the princess. And she began to usurp her authority over Sarah. And then Sarah told Abraham to kick her out and the son. And the Lord said, listen to Sarah. So this is a serious woman in the truth. Huh? This woman is one West. Sarah is absolutely one West. And she told her husband, when she thought she couldn't have a child, have sex with my maid. Have sex with another woman. I'll have a child that way. How many women out there would have this solution? Do you know how many women are? There is an epidemic, and there has been an epidemic probably for the last 30 years of women not being able to find a man. It's constantly in social media. It's constantly being studied at universities that Black women cannot find a man. There are so many women out giving advice. I found out this week, who knows who Ayanna Saves My Life is? Ayanna Van Zandt. You know who she is? Brothers don't know her sister. She is single. She has no man. She's deep in the 50. Probably so deep in the 50, she's 70. She was on some talk show on the Breakfast Club. And they said, well, why don't you have a man? Now, remember now, she's a therapist, a psychologist, telling everyone, giving everybody advice. She said, I haven't learned to control my crazy yet. That's a quote. Now, this broad is who your woman goes to for advice. Find me that thing about Ayanna not having a husband on the Breakfast Club. Women can't find a man. It's so difficult. Listen carefully, women, for the solution to finding a man. Here it is. Let me blow the top off of your head. Share your man. You can't find a man because you're looking for a man that is with you and only you. But can you imagine how much easier it would be to find a good man if 10 women were married to the same man? And now it's much easier. It's like saying, I can't find a piece of bread anywhere. Well, you can come eat some of this. You can come share bread with somebody else. Then now you can get some bread. Sister, you want to say something? Microphone, please. Go ahead. Now, please don't knock this thing down and kill me. The Passover is a few days away. I see y'all. You intent on killing me. Listen, if I must go, I'm going. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead, Doc. Where was the question at?
It seemed like it's so hard. Like you said, the sisters can't find a man. It's so hard that, you know, it's like it could be like where you live at and stuff like that. That's preventing.
A lot of things could be that. Yeah, a lot of things will come against you having a man. The key is, if you're a woman that's thinking, give it the microphone not. If you're thinking that having a man means having one to myself, then you've just increased your odds to not get a man. So it's already difficult because of drugs and prison and death and things like that. And then now you don't want to share a man, you're going to be alone until you die. And that's just that. That's how it works. You got to share your man. The point to the question is about Sarah. The sister asked, why should we call our husband Lord? Well, Sarah told her husband to go have sex with another woman because she couldn't have kids. And she said, well, this is the only way we can have kids. Go have sex with another woman. No problem. Now read what the New Testament says about Sarah. We're reading about Sarah in Genesis. Now we're going thousands of years into the future and how she's remembered in the New Testament. Read it and tell them where you are. Go ahead. 1 Peter's right, 3 and 5. Go ahead, Trooper.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 5. For this they willingly are ignorant of.
Not that. I'm sorry. I must have been the wrong verse. It's all right. For the sister's question, where is that? Where we are? 1 Peter 3 and 5, or are we somewhere else? 1 Peter 3 and 5. Go ahead.
1 Peter 3 and 5. For after this manner, in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted in God.
And the sister, I know it's strange now for you to call your husband Lord. It's more comfortable to say he ain't shit, or he's a dog, or he's stupid, or he's a no good mother effer, or he ain't nothing. All right, that's more comfortable for you to talk like that to your husband. No one ever said, sir, why should we say our husband ain't shit? No one has ever asked that question. That just feels natural to you to say your husband. No one ever asked, well, sir, why do we have to say our husbands ain't nothing and they stupid and they bums and they ignorance and they no good? Well, no one has to tell you to do that. You do that by nature, don't you? You do that naturally. But when it's time to call your husband Lord, I got to give you the whole breakdown of the Bible. I got to break down the meaning of life for you to get you to do that. Well, here it is. Here it is right now. I'll do it for you. A long time ago, back before, women thought that it was profitable to be alone forever. A long time ago, keep reading.
Adorn themselves.
Read it one more time from the top. I missed it.
Verse 5. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands.
A long time ago, women dressed themselves in subjection unto their husband. There are so many precepts that describe what the Bible is talking about. In the book of Genesis, the Bible says that the Most High gave Adam coats of skins and removed the fig leaves that they were wearing. Skin and wearing clothing is synonymous with the spirit that you have. That's what you wear. Women a long time ago, they dressed themselves in subjection to their husband. That's what they were dressed in, meaning they were clothed in it. If you saw them, if you talked to them, this woman was clearly married. A man ruled over her. You just always knew it. And you can see that again at the Passover. At the Passover, you're going to see so many women, and you're going to know who's married. You understand? You're going to know who is married. It's going to be a vibe that is just coming off of her. She's going to be dressed in subjection to a man. Also, with that said, remember, what party are we wearing the corsages for? The Passover? The Passover. At the Passover, women who are single, not just single, but single and available to marry, will have white corsages. Women who are married will have red corsages. Women who have nothing are kids, and stay away from them. They little girls. Mind your business and get the hell out of here. They're children. If you see a girl and she has nothing on, marriage ain't on the table. Marriage is not, it ain't a possibility. So, but if a woman has a white corsage, that's someone that you could say, shalom, sister, who's your camp leader and who's your father? You can go to her and talk to her and ask her who her camp leader is, right? If she has a red corsage, she's your sister. You can say, shalom, sis, that's your brother's wife, right? If she has nothing on, she's a child. Everybody gets it, all right? But you'll know who's married at so many events because they dress themselves in obedience. They dress themselves in being owned by a man, like the women did of old. Keep going.
Verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham.
Even as what?
Sarah obeyed Abraham.
Even as what?
Sarah obeyed Abraham.
See me one more time with the chaser, please, brother. Yeah, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, Mark. Sarah obeyed him, brother. Sarah was a righteous one West sister. She was so righteous when Abraham disagreed with her. Abraham said, woman, that's my son. I'm not kicking him out. Abraham, the Most High said, Abraham, hearken unto the voice of thy wife. Abraham woke up in the morning and kicked out that heathen son and his mother. The Most High stood with her against Abraham, against his will. And she called him Lord. Now, what do? You can't call your husband. You can put him between your legs, but not call him Lord. That's just, it says something to the devalue of a woman. A woman is just a piece of garbage now because she can let a man between her legs and can't talk nice to him. She can't say a nice word to him. The bitch can go out to the job and say, yes, sir, no, sir, to a supervisor. Let a cop pull the bitch over, she'll cry. Watch that. This same bitch you got at home that does nothing you say. Mr. Police Officer, I have to get to work. I can't. And she'll cry. Take her to court or in front of a cop. She is going to start crying in front of him. Cry. This happens every day. You in a battle with some evil, disgusting slut. An evil, contemptuous, vile piece of garbage. You're going to go to court with her. You'll be in court. She's going to get on that stand and they're going to say, miss, what do you want to say? I'm just going through so much right now. And I'm so stressed out. And he don't do this. And she becomes a sweet flower. She's delicate in court. Cries the minute she goes to the damn stand. She starts to cry. Cries the minute the police officer pulls her over. You know why? because she honors the authority of the state. She honors the authority of America, and she doesn't honor you. That's not a woman that can have a man. She shouldn't be single. The problem with women is, you brothers, your bar is so low. That's the problem. You don't set a high bar with women. Women who are dishonorable and refuse to honor a man should die childless. That's what should happen to them. They should never have sex. They should never have attention, never have affection. They should not know the pleasure of a man's touch if they cannot honor a man. The problem is, every man is so lustful and disgusting, you prop up a dirty bitch who should die alone. And because of that, she thinks she can talk to you any way she wants to. She'll find out the other way. She'll see the other side. Anything else?
Calling him Lord.
Calling him what?
Lord.
Mm-hmm. Again?
Lord.
Calling him what?
Lord.
That's what she did. Why? Right? She was a righteous woman of old who feared God. Why should you do it? Because you're having sex with him. Do it for that. I know you're not a woman of God. I'm not even asking that. I know you're not a woman who fears God. Please. I ain't that big of a fool to think you fear God. You fear nothing at all. But you are opening up your legs for him. He is raising kids that are not his. That's another thing that I can't understand. That a woman can't treat you like a goddamn angel falling from the sky, and you are raising children that are not yours, that are not your kids. Do you know who she would be with? Google, everyone type this in your phone. Man kills the child of a woman. Man kills the child of his girlfriend. Now, see how long it takes for you to find that story. Do you know who your wife could have married? Do you know who other women are marrying? They're marrying a man who killed the child. That's what happens. This is every day. The minute you find one, raise your hand, because they're all over. 2 hands up, 3 hands up, they're 4 hands up, 5 hands up. This happens every day. The woman has sex with a man, brings the man into the house, says, "This your new daddy. Call him daddy." He kills the child and kills the woman. Meanwhile, here you are in there with the woman, being the most excellent father figure to this child, not molesting the child, not harming the child, but being a father figure to this child. And this bitch dishonors you, and she can't call you Lord and insults you. Show her the other side up. The other side. Give me a story. Read one. Whoever wants to read it. Levi.
If I may, sir, this is a recent story that happened recently in the last week of February. This husband had sex with his wife, 11-year-old daughter, and he did it while she was on her flower, so that everybody will know when she's bleeding, she's on her flower.
Yeah.
This is a story that I will be teaching on because it happened in the Levi community last week of February, sir.
Yeah, give me another one. Anyone? Trooper in the back.
This was from a couple weeks ago.
Microphone.
Man admits to raping, killing ex's 12-year-old daughter.
Give me another one. Next trooper.
Salaki, sir, there was one where a man killed his supposed girlfriend and her 2 kids on the birthday of their kids. And this happened on the same block where I lived at last year, sir.
I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Anyone want to do another one? Benjamin?
This is Tampa Bay Times from Tampa Bay. Relatives condemn Ronnie O'Neal as he gets life for killing girlfriend and daughter.
Anyone want to do another one? Trooper?
This is ABC News, Salt Lake City. Child Protective Services has opened investigation of Utah man over alleged child abuse and threats to his family just weeks before he killed 7 of his family members and then himself, new documents revealed.
Anyone want to do another one? Benjamin?
And indicted on charges of killing girlfriend's 3-year-old son in Orange County, New York.
Anyone want to do another one? Officer.
Andrew Corker, man jailed for killing girlfriend's 18-month-old son. A man who killed his girlfriend's 18-month-old son in southeast London after a series of attacks has been jailed for 9 years.
Anyone want to do another one, Trooper?
28-year-old Mississippi man has been charged.
Microphone.
14-month-old toddler.
Start over.
A 28-year-old Mississippi man has been charged in the death of a 14-month-old toddler, his girlfriend's son.
That's enough, Hakim. Bitch, call him Lord. Call him Lord. Call him Lord. Say, my Lord. He's raising these children. They're not his. He's kind to them. He's a father figure to them. He's disciplined to them. He's given them structure and order that they cannot receive outside the home. Bitch, you should call him Lord. I got to move on now. Anything else? Please. My topic, what do we have?
Africans try extorting Black Americans.
Yeah, how did I forget about this?
Africans try extorting Black Americans when they visit.
Ain't that something? What did I tell you? Y'all don't listen. You're the hard head. I see something in you. That's an old One West Harlem saying. I see something in you. Brothers would always say that coming from New York. See, I see something in you. I see something in you. I see something in you. You hard-headed. I see it. I see them. They hard-headed, huh? They believe in Ghana. Go to Ghana. Listen, that's the Wakanda. That is Wakanda. Ghana is Wakanda. I know you have to go there. Well, here's this sister that went there. She went there. Commanding General Yohana told you that Ghana is just another African hustle. It's an African scam. That's it. In a little while, it'll go away. I don't hear none of you talking about going to Uganda. What happened to Uganda? Yeah. What do you want to say, officer? Go ahead.
Uganda passes bill criminalizing those who identify as LGBTQ plus. Violations under the law include death and life imprisonment.
Uganda got all the way serious about anti-gay laws this week. Give me the president of Uganda, brother. Listen, a lot of you people from not the brothers in the school in Atlanta. They of course are the last real men in Atlanta. Give ISUPK Atlanta a hand. But for the others in Atlanta, for the sodomites down there in Atlanta, they flocking to Ghana. They're not going to Uganda, brother, because Uganda is not having that mess down there. Everybody wants to go to Ghana. Well, Ghana is promoting, Black Americans to come to Ghana to steal every penny you have. Now, Commanding General Yohana has been telling you this for a year. But you smoke weed. You're stupid. And really, what's the reason that women are going to Uganda? Come on now. Who wants to raise their hand and say it? Come on. Break it down for me. Come on, Trooper. You're a wise man. Why is there such a rush? Why is every Black woman with money cashing out her 401k and going to Ghana? What's the reason?
A man.
A man. That is it. And that is the untold truth of the Ghana exodus. It is fueled by women who have given up on finding a man in America. They think they cannot find a man. And these women who cannot find a man out, in their mind, they just try something different. It's like, well, I can't find a man, so I'll try marrying a white man. I'll marry a white man. After the white man, they're going to turn lesbian. Right? It's like a phase. It's like in their mind, I've tried every kind of Black man. So now let's try a white man. The white man, that also will not work. Then after that, then they're going through their lesbian phase. They'll go find the most out of shape woman they can find and call her a man. But then, of course, as they're with that woman, They will crave what she cannot supply. Then after that, they'll go, you know what? Let me go see what the rod is like in Ghana. Let me go over to the Europe. Let me go over to the other continents and see what penis is like over there. It's from women who believe that the person they're choosing is the problem. You get my point? It's like someone that believes they're always picking a bad apple, as opposed to thinking they don't know how to choose. Right. You get my point? So you'll say, damn, I keep picking these bad apples. Let me go get another batch of apples. I'll try to pick from here. I picked the bad apple again. Let me go try a different batch of apples. So now you done had sex with every man, every black man, every white man, every woman. Now it's time to go try penis on another continent. Now, and when you get over to Ghana, he is going to take your money and leave you as well, because the problem is in you. You're the problem. Play the video.
So we come over here, y'all assume we have the money because we come from the States, which to a certain degree, because the city is less, sure. But you have to think too, like, let's say me, myself, I have busted my tail to save money to be able to come over here. So when you raise the price on me and I'm not some millionaire, you know what I mean? It's very disheartening because I save money to come here. I don't have a lot of money, you know what I mean? So in the States, I think there's a misconception that Black people have the money. As a majority, I mean, there are like, you know, individuals, but as a majority, we have the least money in the States.
What a poor dummy. And everyone, you see her. Don't you know her already? Right. You know her. Who is she? She's single. She works. She has a good slavery in America. She works hard, got all that money together, and she doesn't have a man. And her hope was to go to Ghana and find the Prince of Muanda. That was her dream. Because here's something that women won't confess, but it's true. Money means nothing to a woman without a man. A man is everything to a woman, and nothing else matters. And they act like it does. If you believe the bravado and the talk, they'll make you think that the money matters. Money does not matter to them. What matters to them is a man, but they can't face that because they think that's weak. They think it's weak to have a man be the center of their life. So they'll act like money is the center of their life. Well, guess what? They're working hard all to go to Ghana and find a man. So she's busting her tail, working hard, fighting, all with the hope that she'll go to Ghana and find some man in Ghana. But when she gets to Ghana and the men come around, the men are like, well, where's the money at? And she's like, well, I don't have no money. And the man goes, I don't want to be with you then. Because if a man in Ghana wants to marry you, he believes you're a rich American. But when you show him that you were struggling and fighting and you scrape together your pennies to get to Ghana, he is not going to be with you. He's going to go be with Ayanna Van Zant or some woman with money. Maya Angelou did this. Maya Angelou with all of that bullshit. Who knows who Maya Angelou is? Anybody? She's so old. Nobody knows her anymore, right? You know her? She was someone that gave so much advice, Doc. She gave so much advice, so much talk, and so much wisdom. She couldn't find any man at all. Went to South Africa and married someone in South Africa. You understand? And that's so ridiculous in that a woman with money in America refuses to share that money with you. But she goes to Ghana and gives it to a poor Ghana man. She goes to him and now she gives him all of her money and is willing to give him her money because he doesn't have any money because he's from Ghana and she's a rich American. And so he takes her money and gives her nothing but penis and smooth words. And she could have got that in Harlem. She could have got, come on, put that woman up on there real fast. Let's show that woman. The one that was.
So we come over here.
Come on, how's the hob? That look like you take that right now. That seem who she seemed like she would be with. She seemed like Levi. You seem like you can take a little bit of that. And how's a Hob? She look a little young for most of y'all. Was she 23 or something like that? 23. She a little young for most of y'all. But how's a Hob? You seem like that's what you looking at. You seem like that's your type. Who likes that type? Raise your hand. Damn, y'all don't like that. Okay, listen, that's up to y'all. Listen, I ain't pushing you into it. Listen, no one raised their hand. No, none of y'all want that. Well, she better go to Ghana then. she got to go to Ghana. Because nobody wants her. I know you don't want her after that Ghana man had her. after that, you ain't going behind him. Listen, bitch, I'll get in line behind a couple of brothers, but I ain't getting in line behind no Ghana man. If he in front of me in line, I'm getting out the line. That's rough, sister. Once you've been to Ghana and let them have you, the brothers ain't gonna want you anymore. Come on, man. Don't know they passing on that. It's a rough deal. That's rough. Y'all wrong for that, really. But what can I do? I can't force nobody to marry nothing like that. They don't want to go behind no Ghana man. Come on, how's it hard?
A sister, a famous rapper from UK called Steph London.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Everybody's a love for her, but after she got Burna Boy's from African.
Burna Boy, I heard of him.
I don't hear nobody even show no love.
You don't want to go behind him, right?
Yeah.
Nah, no thank you. Sisters, be careful out there, because you can spoil that meat, and nobody wants it after that, all right? Anything else? That's it on that story. Anything else? Go ahead.
Concert. North Carolina and racism towards Israel. You want to go into one of those?
Mm-hmm.
3 North Carolina police officers fired after audit uncovered racist video. Know your rights.
Now, of course, the Passover this year is in North Carolina, right? And once again, that's why Commanding General Yohana provided buses for everyone to get on that bus, pay the fee to get on that bus, and ride that bus. You do not need to drive all around North Carolina like some stupid idiot that doesn't know where they are. Don't do that, because there's some giant Drake or J. Cole concert in North Carolina, and the police in North Carolina are, guess what? The devil that the Bible speaks of.
Damn right.
Get on the bus. Let the bus driver drive. You can get on the bus, drink on the bus. Come on now. I'll be on there, Rock. Mind your business and what I'm doing on there. Don't even look in the back of that bus. I see something. I'm going to post a guard. Don't look at what's going on. I'm back there with a few sisters. And mind your business. I'm grown. Anyway, in the front of the bus, that's where you'll be. And you'll get on the bus and be in the front of the bus. And it's better than getting pulled over by the police in North Carolina. This is a story that happened this week. Play it.
We turn now to this story. Tonight, 3 Wilmington, North Carolina police officers have been fired after a routine audit of a patrol car camera uncovered what authorities describe as extremely racist comments toward African.
Okay, can they hear it online? Fine. Solid. Play
out of this story. Tonight, 3 Wilmington, North Carolina police officers have been fired after a routine audit of a patrol car camera uncovered what authorities describe as extremely racist comments toward African Americans. We turn now to this story. Tonight, 3 Wilmington, North Carolina police officers have been fired after a routine audit of a patrol car camera uncovered what authorities describe as extremely racist comments toward African Americans. Here's CBS's Jeff Pegues.
Can we give it some volume up?
An internal probe by the Wilmington Police Department reveals hate-filled conversations with 3 veteran officers. Officer Kevin Piner is heard telling Corporal Jesse Moore that the protest would soon lead to a civil war and that he is ready. He goes on to tell Moore that he was going to buy a new assault rifle and soon we are just going to go out and start slaughtering them expletive N-words. Piner says a civil war is needed to wipe them off the expletive map. That'll put them back about 4 or 5 generations. Later, during a phone call with Piner, Moore refers to a woman he arrested as the N-word and says she needed a bullet in her head right then. Donnie Williams is the department's new police chief. He fired the officers on his first day.
Hey, stop right there. I pray you heard that. Play it one more time. I don't think they heard that. They went by too fast. Play it one more time.
Turn out of this story. Tonight, 3 Wilmington, North Carolina police officers have been fired after a routine audit of a patrol car camera uncovered what authorities describe as extremely racist comments toward African Americans. Here's CBS's Jeff Pegues.
An internal probe by the Wilmington Police Department reveals hate-filled conversations with 3 veteran officers. Officer Kevin Piner is heard telling Corporal Jesse Moore that the protest would soon lead to a civil war and that he is ready. He goes on to tell Moore that he was going to buy a new assault rifle and soon we are just going to go out and start slaughtering them expletive N-words. Piner says a civil war is needed to wipe them off the expletive map. That'll put them back about 4 or 5 generations. Later, during a phone call with Piner, Moore refers to a woman he arrested as the N-word and says she needed a bullet in her head right then. Donnie Williams is the department's new police chief. He fired the officers on his first day.
Stop right there. Now imagine, do you know right now, the Arabs committed acts of terrorism on American soil. 9/11, many other various terrorist attacks on. And the police are never angry at the Arabs. The Chinese are currently enemies of America right now. Brother, do you know that the Chinese Communist Party had a secret police station in Manhattan that got shut down this week? Look that up. This week, China, meaning the country, the Chinese Communist Party had a secret police station in Manhattan, right here where we sit today. No one knew about it. It's been there forever, and it got shut down this week. Can you imagine? Think of the things that foreigners have done. The Arabs, the Chinese, the Saudi Arabians. The police feel no anger towards them. No anger. Because the anger that racist police officers feel is not because we're adversaries. It's because they believe that we are slaves who are seeking to get out of our place. That's the feeling. The anger, because otherwise they'd be angry at the Chinese. Because the Chinese are currently enemies of America, sending drones and balloons all over America. The Arabs have been committing terrorist attacks against America since the 70s. And they killed 3,000 people in this city. 3,000 people. No anger towards the Arabs. No venom against the Arabs. Because they consider the Arabs to be men. The anger towards blacks and Latinos is because you are a slave who is trying to lift up your eyes, who is trying to look them in the eye. And that is what angers them. Otherwise, they have far more powerful enemies than black people, far more powerful. But they don't want you to ever stand up. It insults them that you would look them in the face. It insults them. Give me the precept. They say, bow over that we may walk over. Bow that we may walk over. What did I ask for just now up on the screen? Anything? Please, play that. Yeah, tell me if you even heard of it. If anybody even gives a damn about it at all. Please play it. Or read it or whatever you got to do. Come on. Last 10 minutes. Any more questions?
FBI raids Manhattan building used as secret Chinese police station by illegal cops to solve crimes. Premises are...
You never even heard of it. No one cares about it. It happened this week. The FBI shut it down. It was a Chinese from China. The Chinese Communist Party had a police station in Manhattan. Not from American police, from the Chinese police. In all of these prosperous Chinatowns that are in every city in America, in these Chinatowns. And the Communist Party of China just puts their own cops, their own police into Manhattan, and they've been there forever. Forever. Finally, the FBI comes in this week and shuts them down because, of course, America is now trying to turn their eye to China because of all the balloons and because of the economic battles that they're having, that they're about to have and have more of. Read it again and continue.
FBI.
Chaser, please, brother. Chaser, go ahead.
FBI raids Manhattan building used as secret Chinese police station by illegal cops to solve crimes. Premises are linked to charity run by Eric Adams. The raid occurred at the headquarters of the American Chango Association, a nonprofit that helps Chinese nationals who live in New York. The group's former chairman was Liu Zhengshun, who in 2021 donated $4,000 to Eric Adams' mayoral campaign. Reports.
Eric Adams is the mayor of New York. And so this cat gave $4,000 to Eric Adams for him to become mayor. Keep going.
The police station was located on the 3rd floor of the organization's building. The police unit is linked to a unit named 110 Overseas, based in China's Fujian province.
Which shows you, brother, the kind of power you can get by donating just $4,000 to somebody. That's nothing. That's a small. I can imagine what I spend $4,000 on. Damn near nothing. I go and spend $4,000 on all the time. Now I got expensive tastes, of course, but goddamn, for $4,000, you buy a mayor in New York. Is that all it costs? Moving on. How's it? Go there, buy me a couple of mayors out there. Moving on. The water. go ahead. Go ahead. That's what happened. But the police are mad at us. They're angry at us. Not the Arabs, not the Chinese, not the Saudi Arabians. Where does all this hatred come from? Because they don't believe that we even have the right to stand up, to look them in the face as equals. They consider the Chinese equals, the Arabs equals. But you're beneath them. And you insult them by even you believing you have the right to stand on your feet. I'll get one last precept, but then I gotta get the hell out of here. That's it for the questions. I'm sorry, that's it for the videos. Do I have a question that I should answer?
I got the precept that you want to.
Hold that. I'm going to that last. What do you have? Any questions?
There's a bunch of questions online, sir, but I don't see anything else from any of the other zones.
All right, pick a good one.
One brother online had a question. Thank you for taking questions, Ox. I need to know what it means when speaking about the Melchizedek having no mother or father.
When it says the Melchizedek had no father or mother, for you to understand it in the best way, he was an angel. He came down from the Most High God. Having no father or mother meant he was not a human. Every human has a father or a mother. Angels don't have fathers or mothers. All right. He came straight down from the Most High and took tithes of Abraham. To understand it more clear, you need Hebrews 1 and 3. Hold that and go to Hebrews. Melchizedek was an angel, but better than an angel, which is why I said for you to understand that I'll call him an angel, because he was much more than an angel. All right. Hebrews 1 and 3. Come on, quickly, please. Come on. I do. How's a Hob has that? I'm going to close with that one. I'm just trying to answer this question real fast. Go ahead, Ark.
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 1 and verse 3. Who, being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by
This
the
is talking
word.
about Christ. Skip down to when it says, for which of the angels, is right around here somewhere. For which of the angels saith he? Verse 5. Read 4 then. Go ahead.
Verse 5. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son?
Read 4.
Come. Being made so much better than the angels.
That's what you need. Christ was an angel, before he came down and a mother and a father, but more than an angel because he outranked them all. He was more than that. How much? Can you read it one more time?
Verse 4, being made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they.
Everybody understands that. He outranked all the angels. But he was with them, up there with them, and he came down as Melchizedek to receive tithes of Abraham, to establish the priesthood of Melchizedek, to establish the right for the priest after the order of Melchizedek to receive tithes, which is why in the UPK, Commanding General Yohana can require by law everyone to pay tithes, because this is a priesthood after the order of Melchizedek, a priesthood after the order of Christ, Christ being the high priest of this priesthood. Everyone understands. What I just described is in Hebrews, the 9th chapter. All right. What you need is Hebrews, the 1st chapter, Hebrews, the 9th chapter. Having no father or mother meant he's an angel, but much more than that. Next question.
Another question online. Salakia, sir, if I could, after you leave a funeral and be unclean for 7 days, how does that work with our garments being unclean?
Your garments being, when you're unclean from a funeral, right? You can't come around the people. So if your garments are not going to be around because you're not around wearing your garments, you got to stay home. You and your garments are home. That's it. You go to someone's funeral. In the UPK, it's not our culture to go to funerals unless it's important. You understand? If it's important, we go. If it's not important, because it's high time and because we don't have the time, officers do not go to funerals for superfluous relationships. You know, if your homeboy from the 8th grade dies, Lord be with him up. But, okay, we need you. The cam has to go out. So you're not going to be able to go to every funeral that you would like to go to. If you want to go to every funeral, don't become an officer. Then you can do whatever you want. Civilians do whatever they want, like single women. Single women do whatever they want to do. They wear whatever they want to wear. They go wherever they want to go. But once you desire penis in your private, then you can't go every place. Then you have rules. Well, it's the same thing for an officer. If you want to go to every dead homie's funeral, then you should not become an officer up. You can't do that. If you want to go to your uncle's funeral and somebody says, when's the last time you saw him? 25 years ago. You shouldn't be an officer then. Everybody gets it. But now there will be funerals in your life that will be, near family members. You should talk to your camp leader to get in specific. I'm just speaking in general. But those funerals, if you go to them, and you are absolutely allowed to go to them, and your camp leader will give you permission to go to any funeral you want to go to, but you're unclean for 7 days. You and your clothes. Everybody gets it. Levi.
If I may, sir, this just reminded me of a question a sister had. A sister who works in a nursing home, right? She wanted to know how does she deal with it may happen, not all the time, but it does happen. Somebody might die and they pass with the body on the floor that she's in. Like when she knows about it, she will leave the
Don't
area.
go into the room.
Kawakan.
Remember, the Bible says into the house of the dead. So imagine a house back then. It was as big as it was. This room is way bigger than a house. A house would have been probably up here where I'm sitting right now, right? The room, don't go into the room of that dead body. If you walk into the room, so meaning if you're in the room, if there's a door, you're inside the door and there's the dead body right in front of you, and there's nothing separating you and the dead body, you're unclean. If you want to understand it, the COVID rules are exactly the same thing. The COVID rules, right? I'm looking at the dead body. I'm in the room with it. The door is shut behind me. I'm unclean. If I'm on the other side of that door, I am not unclean. Just like COVID, right? Just like a quarantine. There are people that quarantine people in the bedroom, right? Some family member has COVID. What do? You can't go rent a hotel for a week. What do? You put them in a bedroom. You shut the door. You leave food in front of the door. and they're quarantined in the upstairs room. That's the exact same thing as the law for uncleanness.
Oh, God.
So just don't go in now. If somebody has to go in the room, they're unclean. You get the point.
Oh, God.
Next.
Sir.
Mm-hmm.
Another question online, sir. Sister asks, Salakia, could I have a general breakdown of 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, please?
Go ahead.
I have that for you. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith.
This is speaking about women. Women in the Bible, because of the crime that Eve committed, the Most High gave a woman guardrails, structure around her, so that she doesn't make the same kind of mistake that Eve made. And she did a very evil thing. And of course, women, because of their emotionality, have more of a... women are more susceptible to lust and sin than a man is because they're led by emotions, right? Nevertheless, she shall be saved. Even with the kind of pitfalls that a woman is built that has in her spirit because of her emotions, it doesn't mean that she cannot come into the truth. It doesn't mean she cannot be righteous. She absolutely can. And the Most High is telling her about the kind of things that she should embrace. She should embrace what? Nevertheless, she shall be saved with what?
In childbearing.
In childbearing. Be a good mother. And this scripture, brother, if you think this is simple, then you're ignoring life and what you've seen. There are rare good mothers out there. If you are a mother and you involve your child in the problem you're having with your husband, you're a terrible mother. Good mothers are rare, Rob. When I say a good mother, I mean a mother that puts the safety and the mindset of the child above her own anger. That is rare. That's rare. If you're with some woman that yells and argues in front of the child, that's a terrible mother. If you're with a woman that tells the child about her relationship problems, and now the child, I'm not with your father anymore. We're not together. I can't stand your father. You look just like your father. Your father's a crackhead. Your father, where your father at? You sitting waiting by the door for him again? You know he ain't coming. That bitch is a disgusting mother. Right. I don't care how much she feeds you or puts a roof over your head. Some dumb bitches think because they put a roof over your head and feed you, it gives them the right to traumatize you. It does not. We're not dogs and cats. Do you think that the same rules? Yeah, a cat suckles kittens and puts them in a cat hole. That makes her a good mother. You think a bitch is a dog or a cat or a monkey? So all you have to provide what is food? Am I an animal? You think you're a good mother because you feed your kids and give them shelter? Then you're a wolf and a dog and a cat, because any bear can do that. Right. A bear gives a damn animal food and shelter. You're supposed to be raising an elevated human being. You can't traumatize the child, because the child has to be involved with all of your relationship problems, all of your issues. You have to involve the child, because you're a terrible parent with the shelter and with the food. You could be saved if you were a better mother. You could be saved if you focused on the child, what the child needs, what makes the child better, not what makes you feel better. Childbearing, go ahead.
If they continue in faith.
If you stay in the truth, don't leave the truth. So many of you brothers, you're young right now. Let me hit you to something that you don't know. That new woman that you meet online, right? That tells you she has no problem with you being in the truth and you having another wife. She believes that once she marries you, she believes her vagina is so good that she is going to get you to leave your current wife. That's what she thinks. So when she's saying, yeah, how is Shema Alepha? Of course, I have no problem with it. In her mind, she will seduce you into leaving your current wife. That's her plan because she's done it before with so many men. Other men she's been with, they had women, and she came into their life, and the husband, the man left the old wife and took her. So she thinks that if she just has sex with you, you will leave your current wife. Even though you're telling her, I believe in having more than one wife, she says she can deal with it. She says she accepts it. She learns how to say Yahweh Shema Alepha. In her mind, she's going to eventually get you to leave the first one. And it starts with when you try to go see the other one, she has a big problem, an attitude, this and that. And then it'll mushroom, especially when she realizes, wait a minute, he's not going to leave the other wife. He's going to stay with her. Then she's going to leave you. If this woman could continue in the truth, don't leave the truth, Sister Akwat. Don't leave the truth. You come into the truth, you have sex with a man, he's in the truth. The Israelite school of UPK is not a religion. It's not a religion in that you cannot be in the truth and be insincere. This school does not allow for insincerity. There are so many things that will happen to you that will push you out of the school if you are not sincere. So if you're really just here because you think I want him to pick me and I'll act like I'm in the truth, the school will weed you out because a situation is going to happen that only a sincere woman can handle. If you continue in the truth, if you do not leave the truth, you will be saved. Continue.
And charity.
What is charity? Kindness. Compassion. Compassion. I was talking to one of the brothers today. If you want to find a good woman, let me let you understand one thing. If I could crystallize everything about a woman into one thing and a trait you should look for in a woman, it's compassion. So few women are compassionate. They don't have compassion. You don't notice it because you're lustful and selfish. So you don't notice that this woman does not have compassion. If your eyes were open, you could see it on a date. Right. On a date, you could see that this woman is not compassionate. How does she treat that waitress?
Right.
How does she treat her? Look at that on a date. Look at this fork all dirty. This fork is dirty. She's taking all day. She don't tip. She's mean to servants. Mean to people that, mean to people you don't have to be nice to. You get my point? There are people you meet every day that you don't have to be kind to. Waitresses, waiters, homeless people. And she's just cruel to them. And you look at her and go, if this woman is cruel to people unless she has to be kind to them, unless they're her boss, unless she makes money, unless there's some gain to be nice to them. This woman is cruel to people. You could notice that, brother, on a date if you were looking. If she was compassionate, oh, that's going to be a good wife, a compassionate woman, kindness, and it's something you want to look for. Look for her, especially since you're going to marry her anyway, and she has those children. What does she do with those children? Let me give you a sign for compassionateness, for being compassionate that I know you don't notice because you love it when she's not compassionate. Who wants to blow my mind? Who can read my mind? I know you can. I'm going to tell you the way she talks about her ex. Oh, you love it when she downs him, don't you? Makes you feel like a big man, doesn't it? Yeah, he don't take care of his kids. He ain't shit. He never comes see him. He don't do nothing. He was physically abusive. He was physically abusive. He was nothing. You sit there and go, what? That nigga, boy. Well, what? Wait till you see how I parent. Wait till you see how much better of a husband I am than him. I'll show you that I'm better than him. And then you go into the house trying to be better than him. Nigga, you are him. Wait a year. She's going to talk about you the same way. When a woman is coming to you talking about her ex and how evil he was and how disgusting he was and how terrible he was, that is what she's going to say about you. She doesn't have any compassion. You know what she should act like? It never happened. That's what she should do. It never happened. You're her first. This is brand new. I'm coming into the truth as a new sister in the truth. I was with nobody. I don't know anything. I don't like to even think about my past or talk about it. I don't want to be with anybody but you. I was never with anybody but you. But when a woman constantly wants to fill your head with venom about her ex, you are seeing the future of how she talks about you. She does not have compassion. She's never wrong. Nothing is her fault. That is what she's going to do to you. Kindness. That's what charity is. Kindness. Look for that in a woman instead of an inflated ass from Mexico. Look for that. I got to move on. Are we done?
And holiness with sobriety.
Oh, listen, Jesus Christ. Now you getting listen. What is holiness? Separateness. To be separate. Is this a woman that follows all the trends? There's a disorder that is a plague on America. I forget the name of it. Kadazai, what is it called? FOT, fear of being left out, fear of FOMO. What does that mean? Fear of missing out. Brother, that's a plague. If you marry a woman that is trendy, she loves trends. She's super trendy. She's flying down to Acuna, Mexico to get her ass inflated. She's trendy. She needs to look like a Kardashian. She's super trendy. She has a fear of missing out on things. She has to dress like this. She has to wear these shoes. She has to have this purse. She has to drive this car. If a woman is trendy, then she cannot be left out of things that people in the world are doing. Like lobster. Some bitch that loves lobster is loving it because people tell her to love it. Lobster is a roach. It's a roach. There was a time in Massachusetts, about 3 hours from here, when they fed lobster to prisoners. Google it on your phone. The prisoners had a prison revolt because they said, we're tired of eating lobster. Look at it, put it in your phone right now as I'm talking, and someone tell me that it happened in Massachusetts. Lobster was a trash fish, but because lobster came from the coast and it was spoiled so fast, which is why you had to, kill a lobster. You had to buy it live because it spoiled so fast. It cost so much money. And because it cost so much money, some dumb bitch said, you got to buy it for me for a date. You got to have lobster on a date because it's expensive, just like a diamond ring. Any bitch telling you have to buy her a diamond ring has FOMO. She can't be left out of getting a diamond ring, of getting engaged, of having a marriage ceremony. Some bitch who you've had sex with for 10 years is going to leave you because you don't buy her a ring. She's give you her vagina for 10 years. But because you didn't go to the Bears and get a ring, you don't love her. So the ring is the love. The ring is the actual love, not the vagina, not the penis, not the thing that makes babies, but the ring. She has FOMO. She sees women on TV getting rings. She has to get a ring. She sees women on dates eating lobster. She has to eat lobster. She has to do what she sees other women do. Hazahab. Please read
it. Okay, so this is Cape Porpoise Lobster Co. A brief history of lobster and how they became seafood royalty.
Seafood royalty, lobster. Every first date has to have lobster. You go on a date with that bitch and she orders lobster, you get up and leave. Tell her ahead of time. Just say, listen, I'm taking you on a date. Just know this. Here's the rules for this date. No shrimp, no lobster, no pork, nothing like that will come on this table. If you eat those things, I will not kiss you. I don't kiss lips with pork stink all over them. And lobster stink. You brothers out there kissing a woman to eat shrimp, aren't you? That's up to you. No, thank you. Keep going.
Kadawa Khan, once considered the cockroaches of the sea.
Yeah, this is UPK doctrine.
That's right.
We've been teaching this forever. Nobody believes us, though. We're a cult. We're crazy. Right? We're some crazy cult. Keep reading.
During the 1700s, lobsters were so plentiful that they used to wash ashore on Massachusetts beaches in piles up to 2 feet high.
2 feet piles of lobster, trash, cockroaches. Who in the hell would eat that roach? Keep going.
Lobsters were considered the poor man's chicken and primarily used for fertilizer.
They grind it up and throw it on the soil. That was it. That was the primary use for it. Keep going.
Or fed to prisoners and slaves.
That was it. That was it. Do you have the revolt where they protested the prisoners? Please read.
Sir. Some indentures servants even revolted after being forced to eat the meat, and the colony agreed that they would not be fed lobster meat more than 3 times a week.
There was a slave revolt over eating lobster because they was giving it to them 7 days a week. The slave master agreed, and they said, okay, we'll just give you lobster 3 times a week. Now you got to buy it for some slut to have sex with her. And so she can dunk it in butter. Dunk everything in butter. It tastes better with butter. If she must have lobster, and she must have the shrimp dish, and she must have the red bottoms, and she must have them stupid purses, run away from Iraq. Because let me tell you something else that she's going to have that everybody else has. Who wants to blow my mind but give me the answer? I know you can't. What does everybody go through? And they talk about it, and they write books about it, and they blog about it. And women sit down and listen to their stories of it. What is she going to have to do that everyone else does? Give her the microphone first, the trooper in the back, and let me see if he has the answer, because I will be impressed. What else does a woman have to do that everyone else does?
It's like you break up and find a new man.
Give him a hand. This, you know what a woman has? You know, every woman has to have a marriage, have a wedding ring. She has to have a wedding ring. She has to show everybody because everyone else is. You know what else she has to do? Go through a breakup. Everyone does. She has to, you know what? I've had to divorce my husband of 17 years, and now I'm single. You single again? You went through a divorce? Oh, you out there single again. What is life like out there single again? She'll have to leave you because everyone else goes through a divorce, and she has to have something to talk about. If she stays with you, then she will never get to go through a breakup. And breakups are essential for women to have fodder for something to talk about. What does she have to talk about with you? Going home every day and being with you all the time and loving you and having an uneventful life and peace and love with you? That doesn't make a good blog. What's happening with you? You know, I recently went through a divorce. We went through a divorce. Tell me all about it. Yeah, after 15 years. See, I had to get happiness for myself. You had to find your own happiness. Let's talk about that for 4 hours. If your wife needs adventure and things to go through, she's going to need a divorce. She's going to need a marriage and need a divorce because everyone else is doing it. Stay away from her. Let her die childless. That's it. Let her never taste penis. Never know the pleasures of a man. Never know what it is to be hugged and touched and caressed. Never to feel a hand on her cheek. Never to look at a smile. Never to be tickled or picked up. They love that up. I don't know if you know, but women need to be picked up. You got to pick them up. You got to take that broad and pick her up. You got to take her, get your back strong, because some of them like to eat. You got to have a strong back. That's why they love you, because he can pick them broads up. He's strong. He put 2 of them right here on both arms. I don't know if you know. He put one on the neck, one in the left, one in the right. He put bounce 2 on the knee. That's why they love him. Give him a hand. Some of y'all, brother, y'all can barely pick up one broad. You can barely balance one rod on your damn hands. Well, let that bitch never know what it is to be picked up after the age of 12. Never. So she could understand what you need to be and what you need to do to be saved. Everyone understands. That's it for that, bro. I can tell you why I was shot. Give me that last precept about Esau. The last precept about Esau to Zaryak had.
Isaiah 51 and 23.
Now this is going back into Esau and why our oppressor hates blacks and Latinos, but has no problem with actual terrorist countries like China and Saudi Arabia, and like other terrorist countries, and like Japan, who's been enemies of America, and Vietnam, which were enemies of America. The cops don't hate them, but they hate blacks and Latinos because they hate the fact that you believe you're equals with them. Read the precept.
Isaiah 51, 23. But I'll put it into the hand of them that afflict thee.
The Most High said he was going to make them drink of the cup of trembling.
Oh, that's one verse.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll just paraphrase it. He's going to make them drink of the cup of trembling, of fear. Them that have done what? Read that again.
I'll put it into the hand of them that afflict thee.
Them that afflict us. Now they're going to be afraid. The people that afflict us, which is the problem that Latinos and black people have with our oppressor. It is not because we want to be criminals or we want to sell drugs. It is not because we don't even want criminals arrested. Blacks and Hispanics want to live in safe neighborhoods. We don't want drugs on our corner. We don't want car thieves breaking in our cars every night. We don't want to be afraid to let our children walk down the street. We want righteous police force. We want the police to do their job. We want the trash department to pick up the trash. We want the streets department to clean up the streets. We want good municipalities. We want them to do their job. The problem is we don't want oppression. We don't want to be beat to death, even though we're innocent, even though we haven't committed a crime. And the governments of this world hate us because we don't want to be oppressed. Read.
Which have said to thy soul.
Which have these villains have said to our soul. Go ahead.
Bow down.
They say what?
Bow down.
They say what?
Bow down.
They say this to your soul, to your soul. Bow down. That's why they beat those brothers out for moving. For the brother, they say, turn over, put your hands behind your back as they're beating you. When human nature would make you put your hands up, defend your eyes, defend your genitals, would make you try to guard yourself. No, I'm beating you with a stick. Don't guard yourself. Don't. Put your hands behind your back while I'm hitting you. They want to rewire your mind to not defend yourself and obey them. And that's telling your soul to bow down. Bow down. Keep going.
That we may go over.
That we may go over. So what are they telling you to be? You're a standing up man. Like, see this vision. You're standing up. They're here. They want you to lay down so they can walk on you. They want you to lay down so that they can go over. And that is the problem with the authorities of this world. Not that we're terrorists, because the Saudi Arabians are. Not because we're enemies of the state, because the Chinese are. But because we're men who sometimes want to stand up, who just want to stand on their feet. How's it how?
Of course, sir. That just remind me of that thing in the South where brothers be on the sidewalk and a white man coming, an oppressor's coming, and they have to get out of the way, bow their head, and allow the oppressor to walk by.
Yeah, that's real history. Not critical race history, but history. That's actually what happened and what your grandparents went through. My grandmother told me that story at a kitchen table, told me that exact story about a laugh barrel that she used to have to put her face in if she went downtown and laughed with her friends. She told me that, which means that's how soon it happened. It happened to her. She told it to me, which is how soon it happened. There are not generations and generations between I and her. She did it and told it to me as a 10-year-old child. There's nothing wrong with just wanting to be a man, just wanting to be a person, right? That can't be illegal to do that. But assaulting someone without cause, that is illegal. Which brings me to the Tekashi 6ix9ine story. That's his name? Right. So now this cat, he's some rapper with colorful hair, right? I believe he was some gangster rapper in New York. He was with the Bloods gang in New York, right? With him meaning he made raps about him, I guess. Okay. Then I believe they did some crime to him or something like that, and he was offended by it. And then he went and snitched on them when he was about to get jail time for committing crime as well. Am I getting the story right? So he snitched on them. So then he just, makes a ton of raps and, gangster raps, I guess. Talks a ton of tough talk on raps. So then he was in Florida this week, and some man just beat him up and beat the hell out of him into LA Fitness. I saw that. I said that brother should have went to Anytime Fitness. What's the one that's a no judge zone? Planet Fit. That's where he should go. Planet Fitness is a no judgment zone. That LA Fitness is full of judgment. You got to go to what's the name of it again? Planet. You got to go to the one where you drop the weight and they put an alarm. You go to Planet Fitness, you put that weight on the ground, they act like somebody robbed a bank. The alarms start going off, and it's some alarm called the Jughead alarm or the Lunkhead. It says the Lunkhead alarm because you dare to drop that 120 on the ground. That's what Tekashi 6ix9ine needs to go work out over there. Now, what's the Israelite School of UPK's official breakdown on the Tekashi 6ix9ine assault? If it's true, now with rap, it might be fake because this, of course, sells records. And do they still say records anymore? Downloads? I don't know. Streams. This, of course, makes streams, right? So it might be fake. Who the hell knows? But assuming it's real, this is the UPK's official breakdown on this Tekashi 6ix9ine incident. The reason that those brothers beat up Tekashi 6ix9ine is the exact same spirit that made those black cops beat up that black brother down south. It's the same thing. It's the feeling that he's smaller, I'm bigger, and it's fun to beat up someone when there is no repercussion to beating them up. It's fun. Many people have asked if it was a white man, if it was George Zimmerman, would they have done the same thing? No, they would never have beat George Zimmerman, also was in Florida. And brothers called me this week and said, would they have beat up George Zimmerman? No, they would not have. They would have never beat up George Zimmerman. What else wouldn't have happened? Those 4 black cops would have never beat up a white man. Never. Go ask you brothers that do street speakings. Go talk to a police officer and ask them this question. Have you heard about white cops committing acts of excessive force against black people? He'll say yes. He's heard of it. Say, have you heard of black cops committing acts of excessive force against black people? He'll definitely say yes because it just happened. Ask him this. Have you ever heard of black cops committing acts of excessive force against a white person? Watch the answer. Go ahead. Just go ask him that question. It doesn't happen. Black cops don't beat up white people. Even to call cops racist is to not understand what's happening. Because if they were racist, then black cops would beat up white kids. Black cops do not beat up someone of another race. Black cops beat up black people. That's who they beat up. It's not racism like you think. It's oppression. It's a bow down that we may walk over. It's oppression. It really has nothing to do with being the opposite race. It's oppression, Ak. That's what it is. Everyone understands. Come on, finish.
Karokan, and thou hast laid thy body as the ground.
And you did it. You laid down as the ground. Keep going.
Karokan, and as the street.
And as the street.
Go ahead.
To them
that went over.
And even that's so poetic in that it says you are the street. And even that term streets means like ghetto and in the streets. And I'm in the streets and you're in the streets. You are the ground that they walk on. So even to say that you're street and I'm from the streets and in the streets we do this and in the streets we do that. This is what you do in the streets. You lay down for white people to walk over you. That's what you do. And that's our breakdown on the Tekashi 69 situation. Everybody gets it. With that, pass the class over to the officer.
Men of Israel, Majim, which means to stand. I'll give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Majim Shabbat. Amadim, Barak. Yajimata, which means hands down. Saw faces sisters. Sister, Amadim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, we're going to get one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Amadim, Barak. Yajimata, which means hands down. Class is missed.